all putting in the work, and I'm really happy about that. Okay? Just keep showing up. Keep coming to meetings. That's how this thing works. Okay? Okay, and I see we have a new person at our meeting. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Actually, I have an activity we can all do together. We should go to Plastic City Comic-Con. There's just so much to do there. There's comic books, toys, games, anything you can ask for.
Wait, do you work for Plastic City Comic-Con?
Me? Work for Plastic City Comic-Con?
But we're all going to Plastic City Comic-Con, right? I thought so. Now, who here owes me money?
PlasticCityComicCon.com for info and tickets.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Indie Comics Relay. I'm your host, Keith Gleason, creator of the Mighty Mascots and promoter for the Plastic City Comic-Con. With me is always Johnny C., creator of Sartana, Surrounded by Death, and The Pond. For who, Johnny?
My good friend, my good cousin, Roger Morocco, if he's watching.
Yep.
and also, real quick, guess who's going to Plastic City Comic-Con?
Yes.
Oh,
yes. Wow. I want to talk about that in a second. And our third co-host, Harry G, graphic artist extraordinaire. What's going on, guys?
Hey, how's it going?
Dude, that's awesome news. So you were able to change the flight?
Change my flight. Won't be leaving until the Monday before Comic-Con.
Fuck yeah.
So I'll be available for the Saturday of Plastic City. Don't
Very cool.
hold the table quite yet because logistically things are going to be packed up and they might also be potentially being shipped across the country. So I don't want a table if my goods aren't available. So we'll plan on that with still a little bit of time, but I will.
Yeah. When do you think you'll have that all figured out, Johnny?
Soon, but let's talk after the show. Just that way we're not wasting time, viewers' time.
No, that's awesome, dude. I love something about when you're at our show, it gives me like this strength. I don't know what it is. like I have this because when they know Johnny's there, it's like I don't know. It's like
the Wonder Twins, you know.
Maybe like a good luck charm. I don't know.
Like when I'm away from Johnny too long, I lose my powers. You know,
it's like a Wonder Twin thing, maybe.
Exactly. Right.
And Harry and our wonderful third co-host Harry. I didn't mean to step on you, Harry.
No, it's okay.
Harry, I mean, so good to have you.
Thank you. We'll see.
Harry's used to being stepped on, right, Harry?
No, not by us.
Well, I'm vertically challenged too, so I'm used to
it. Oh man, so it's been crazy, dude. Yesterday I was at an outdoor festival, like in.
How did that go?
Did it get rained out or rained?
No, it was raining in the morning. It was like kind of misting, but then by like I think 11 or 12, it stopped, and the weather got nice. I felt a little awkward because it was like it wasn't really a festival for like selling art or anything. It was more a festival for business. So like people next to me were like you've ever been to like one of those shows where it's like workers credit unions set up and they're handing out like pens and like
it's like a trade show,
almost like a trade show,
not a like street vendor fair.
Exactly.
Kind of
and so like we were a little awkward there, but like we had set up like a raffle thing for Plastic City. So like, you know, come over, you can win 4 free tickets to Plastic City. And then we put out some of our artwork, and I didn't put out my comics, but I put out a few graphic novels. And we actually, you know, I had no expectations because when I got there and realized what kind of show it was, I'm like, this isn't going to be good.
Yeah.
And then but shockingly, we made about $70. You know, people
that's
came
not
over.
bad.
Yeah, you know, for like 6 hours time, you know, it wasn't too
when
bad.
you find yourself in a predicament like that, there's always a way to come out of it with a positive. So even if it's not sales, it's networking. Like, for example, I don't know if you had any type of representation on your table for your digital media, but that's a perfect time to have a QR code and say, hey, scan this and this will take you to some digital comics. You know, maybe 1 or 2 are free or something just for the sake of, you know.
Well,
have,
that and I
hooking
was
them.
gonna, yeah, exactly, and that, and I was gonna say, like, if you still have like a positive attitude, it still brings people over. Like like I could have easily just been like, like a
Yeah.
little baby and like with my head in the
like you
phone,
usually
Yeah.
are.
right?
I think that shows too. There's
Baby
a lot of
Dewey,
people who say, "Oh, I had a bad show." Well, what was your demeanor at the show? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
right,
Like,
right,
there's
yeah.
some shows that are legitimately not well run, and there's some shows where people, just because it's
You
not
make
going
your
their
own.
way, they slam the show itself.
Yeah, right. And you make your own. I think you make your own destiny, like your own
Yeah.
outcome. Like, you may not make a ton of money because people aren't really spending money now, but like,
Right. There's always
I'm telling
positives.
you, if you're positive, like you bring that energy back to you. But if you're on your phone the entire time, nothing's gonna happen,
Yeah.
But I would think that your little contest was better than what the people are doing, like giving out free pens. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure.
Free pens. Although I did visit the Dunkin' Donuts booth a couple times because they were giving out samples of that new sparked energy drink that they have.
Oh yeah.
Giving out a couple munchkins, so we definitely popped over there a couple times.
Nice. Well, I remember being a little kid, and my grandfather and my cousins, who are in trucking, bringing me to like the Bayside Expo Center in Boston way back in the day for the New England Truck Show. So
Yeah.
there I was, like this kid, like 8, 9, 10 years old, going to booths and seeing all the booths that had like the booth girls with like the
Yeah, yeah.
exotic, dresses, or like,
Yeah.
bikini girls, or giving away
Mm.
free keychains, pens, tchotchkes.
Mhm.
It was there at that show where I bought my first switchblade,
Nice.
where they sold a knife to an underage kid. It was great.
That's where you became a man, Johnny.
That's where I became a man, for legit, for sure.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's the only thing that was missing, the knives and booth babes at this show.
I know.
But
They
they
'cause I
had
wasn't
everything
there,
else.
that's why.
A lot of food trucks, a lot of good food trucks there too, which was
Food trucks,
worth it,
yeah.
They had like a seafood one. I was like, I wasn't sure about that one, but
Yeah,
like,
right.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want seafood from a food
even
truck.
Haverhill
but-
Comic Con had a barbecue food
Did you get to
truck.
try that? I didn't get
I
to try
didn't,
it.
and I wish I caught the name, but it smelled good. It smelled like good smoked barbecue.
Yeah, right. Oh, Jared's asking what's wrong with booth babes. Nothing, man.
Nothing's
love
wrong
it.
with booth
I
babes.
want them to be there.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean,
it
if
worked.
you
It
have-
works for a reason.
does. I mean, the Zenoscope guys are still in business because of it. I think.
And I'm sure they could make it where it works both ways. I mean, if you look at any street team at a booth, especially at those big shows like San Diego, they've got, very handsome men and very attractive women working as the face of the company. And that's
Yeah.
by design. You know what I mean?
I hate those
Because
when
people want to suppress that. It's still a thing. It's still.
It is a
huge,
thing. Yeah.
I don't fall for it when I go to the mall, and they try to chase me down, like, with
Oh,
to
yeah.
smell some perfume or whatever. Like, nah, I'm good.
That's why you got to have personality, like myself. When the looks can't get you there, the
When you
personality
see
does.
them, you gotta go the other way or wait
Yeah.
for someone else to get caught in their web and then run right by them. Or do the whole no and walk by like that. But yeah, so we have a good show tonight. We have 2 new guests that have never been on the show, which is cool. Like,
Yeah.
one goes by the moniker Hero Darky Dark, but we decided in the green room that we're just gonna call him HDD for short.
I
And,
think that's a fair assessment right there.
Yeah,
just
right.
just so there's no confusion. There's no
Exactly.
way you could say boo otherwise. That it's HDD is fine by me.
Yep. And then the other guest tonight is Steve Urena, is how you say the last name. He's actually from our neck of the woods, Johnny. He's a creator in Connecticut, a new creator who actually started making comics during the pandemic.
I need to confer with Steve because I think him and I have crossed paths.
Really?
So
Okay.
we'll have to bring him in. We'll see if we can.
So yeah,
link that
let's
up.
bring the guests in, and then we'll zip through the comments for tonight. And there's also
Yep.
a couple little things I know we want to talk about. Like we have a little tangent that we're going to go on, and then also I have a video that I'm going to be playing for Plastic City. So we'll play that
Nice.
maybe maybe once or twice tonight. And it's premiering here because it hasn't been on our social media yet. So
I like that
it'd be cool.
exclusive.
I should have worn my tuxedo T-shirt.
I know, right? It's a special night. All right. So without further ado, let's bring in tonight's first guest, which is HDD. Hey, HDD. Thanks for joining Indie Comics Relay.
Oh yeah, it's great to be here. But I'd like to clarify, there was no discussion in the back room. They just told me we're gonna call you HDD and you're gonna like it. I was forced against my I'm joking. We agreed to it. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for joining us. And then our second guest tonight, Mr. Steve Urena. Is that how you say it, Steve?
Yes, Urena, Steve Urena. Nice to
Awesome.
meet everybody.
Thanks
The
for
other
coming
hero,
on.
Dark, Dark Tent, the suntan Superman, if you would like. But yeah, very nice to be on the show. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Johnny, before we go any further, what did you want to ask Steve?
Steve, did you launch a Kickstarter campaign in 2021?
Yes, I believe so. I've done
Was-
2020, 2021.
Was it your zombie book?
Yep, Zombie Date Night.
We cross promoted when I launched Surrounded by Death.
Yes. I
Oh,
believe you followed me.
nice.
I think we follow each other on Twitter. Yes.
Yeah, we cross promoted then,
look-
and you've always been in my like kind of Twitter orbit since then.
I thought it was going to be like, you know what? I think Steve owes me money. I'm going to have to go get him at Plastic City Comic Con.
No,
That name
nothing like
sounds
that.
familiar. I gotta take
Nothing
him
like
down.
that. Well, Zombie Date Night rang a bell. I'm like, wait a
Gotcha.
minute. And when you promote something, when you share somebody else's work, it's for reasons because it sticks with you. It sticks out in your mind. It
Absolutely.
it kind of resonates because my book Surrounded by Death had zombies in it and Steve's were running at the same time. I go, this is a perfect opportunity for us to cross promote. And that's where I think I reached out to you, right? And I was proposed the idea.
Yes. I mean,
very
for me,
good.
I love the indie comic space and that everybody wants to help each other and help each other's campaigns. I think that's the way to do it. There's no time for gatekeeping. It's we all could win.
Absolutely. And I was very nervous sending that message, Steve, because you never know the type of creator that you're going to be sending a message to blindly like that. I kind of went through your Twitter and I got like a little bit of a vibe. I was like, okay, maybe he's cool. You know what I mean? But you never know because you never know how people, how they hold and regard their work, so it's when you want to cross promote, it's a kind of a very personal thing, but you were very gracious and I'm glad we're able to do so. And hopefully I'm sure we were able to kind of boost each other at that time.
Yeah. Listen, everybody should help each other out if we can. And, positivity is always good. That's always
I love that. I love that.
Absolutely, man. And I think positivity is the hardest thing to keep because you're putting, as a creator, you're put in a lot of negative situations, and it's a lot how you handle those situations, especially conventions.
Mhm.
And I've been in some doozies, so like it's
There's
how
a lot
you
of sour
react to
people
those,
out there.
What's that,
There's a lot
Johnny?
of sour people out there.
Oh yeah,
But like I said, it's how you handle that. Like positivity attracts positivity, negativity brings you that back, negativity, and
It's easy to fall. Sorry, Steve.
Sorry.
Go on.
I was gonna say the hardest part about conventions these days are I'm very extroverted, and a lot of people at these conventions are introverted. So it's like some people are like that, some people are not, which is fine. But I had a prize wheel on the last convention I did, and you could win free prizes, you could win candy, you could win free comics. And I was like, hey, does anybody want to spin the real wheel? Everybody wins a prize. And somebody was like, they were like, no. I was like, okay.
Fair enough.
I can't make you do it.
You got to be
Understandable. Have a
that's
great
one of
day.
the things I'm talking about too, where you got to be ready because like you get all kinds of personalities at conventions. Like I remember trying to hand out like just a postcard of the comics, or even for Plastic City Comic Con, figuring that the person there is at a Comic-Con, might want to go to another Comic-Con, but like it's like you're handing them poison and they're just like they gotta run, like they run away, like but it's like whatever, go right to the next person. You can't let it hurt you or affect you.
It's
That's
it's
my
easy to
advice
fall.
to every creator out there.
It's easy to fall into the negativity trap. Like if there's people surrounding you that
time.
are having a bad show, it's like you like start to commiserate a little bit, but then you realize, oh wait, I'm falling into like this pool of negativity.
It's a negativity
You know what I mean?
vortex. Yeah,
Yeah, it really is.
absolutely. And like as long as you realize that, I mean, we've all had
breaking that
Times.
thought process is key. That's key, is break, because it's easy to fall into that trap, because you might even you yourself be like, oh, I'm having a tough show, so it's easy to feed into that. But if you can break that thought process and find the positivity in the situation, even if it's not shared, because sometimes you throw the positive statement out and everybody's like, this jerk off over here, right? so if you can walk away yourself with a positive attitude, not feeding into the negative, like, that's key as well.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
when you
all
grab
of
that
us
mirror
need
and
fun.
say, you grab that handheld mirror and say, you know what, I'm good enough, I'm smart enough.
Gosh darn it.
Right.
People
mean,
like
sure.
I love
Great
it. Love it.
advice.
Right.
And
I
I
mean,
wanted to
all-
ask HDD, how did you find us did you find our YouTube channel, or did you how did you hear about us?
I think it was more through Twitter.
Oh,
I'm
Twitter,
not.
nice.
I have a horrible memory, so I forgot if I was recommended by a friend or I just saw you guys on Twitter. I was just like, oh, hey, that's a show I can jump on. Or something.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
Well,
awesome.
we're happy to have you,
Yeah,
HDD.
definitely, man. Any and all creators, you know.
Yeah.
So
No qualms on your name either. We just don't want other people to be offended. That's all.
Hey, no problem. I have no.
that's their
like,
fault.
Yeah,
That's
their
on
fault.
them, and not us.
That is
you
on
know?
them. Exactly.
But before we go any further in the show, I'd like to zip through our viewer comments here really quick, and then
Let's
start
roll 'em.
into the conversation here. We got Amy's Birdhouse in the chat tonight, as always, commentating and
Thanks, Amy.
running our chat and keeping everything going. Good evening, all, she says. And let's see, Elizabeth Roberts watching us. Hey, Elizabeth. Hello,
Welcome
my
back,
friend, she
Elizabeth.
says. Amy says, huzzah, Johnny C at Plastic C. I like that.
I get such FOMO when I'm not at Plastic City. And
We
like,
do
you're like,
too,
oh, but you're
man.
going to San Diego, you're traveling, the weather's nice. It's like, doesn't matter. All my friends are getting together in one building back home. Like, of course I'm going to miss that.
Yeah, no, and we love it. Like I said earlier, we love having you there. So
I appreciate
it's
being
awesome
there.
that you'll be there in some capacity, whether
We'll
it's
figure it out.
tabling
Yeah,
or
yeah.
not. Scary Good is in the chat tonight. Thanks for joining us. Amy's saying that we gave away free candy at the outside fair too. Yawn. Yum.
I'll
That's
probably
always
just
a
do
good
it inside the
way to
field just in
get
case.
people to your page. What'd you
What was
say?
that, HDD?
I say it's probably better to do it inside the field just to be safe, so no one have any misunderstandings. But
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, it's also a good reason to get people to your table, you know, if you have the extra money to
Exactly.
give like a little bit of candy out, you know. Jared from Dark Stream is here with us. What's up, buddy? Free candy is my weakness. I think that's why a lot of people have it at conventions, you know.
I stopped doing the candy regularly because I'd be at a show, and then next thing you know, like, these kids are like Goku fist pounding into the candy and just putting it and stuffing it into their pockets as they don't even break your gaze. You know what I mean? You're just trying to like pitch the book while you're getting robbed by children.
Yeah, we've had that. We had that a couple times too. We had somebody spill Gatorade on the table this week. Oh God! So I got to wash both tablecloths before we go.
As long as
to
the
the next
merchandise
show.
didn't get damaged, that's the key.
No,
thing.
nothing got damaged. Thank
Yeah,
God.
that's the key thing.
oh, thank goodness.
And then what did Amy say? Yeah, there's no guarantee that we'll have leftover candy for the next event.
It's hard not to dip into the stash too.
Yeah, right. Well, we were both doing that. I have a wicked sweet tooth, she said. Elizabeth said, Johnny, a man. What is that? A man? Well, LMAO.
I think she's trying to bust my chops about.
Oh,
being a
okay.
man.
I don't remember what that's in reference to, though.
I don't know, but I don't feel threatened at all.
Was that the trucker reference? The trucker.
Oh, maybe, yeah, maybe the trucker
Right.
reference.
Yeah.
And then he said, "This is I saw this earlier. What's wrong with booth babes? Absolutely nothing. I love them." And he says, "Sex sells always." Yep, that's true.
Well, you know, that's why when you take a wander through Kickstarter and Indiegogo, you see a lot of explicit material, like campaigns getting boosted.
Oh yeah,
hard.
absolutely.
Sure.
Yep, that's
A lot of
totally
gooners out there.
What'd you
Yep.
say, HDD?
I said there's a lot of gooners out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Darkstream Studios. The only problem with booth babes is that there aren't enough of them. Yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
Hey, look at this. Dismay Brandon from Dismay's with us tonight. What's up, Brandon? Good to see you, bud. Wait a sec. Steve Urena is on here. Does Steve have a new book coming out? I'm guessing, Steve, you might.
I mean, something is coming. I'll talk about that later. But no, this is my first time doing Comic Cons and stuff like that. I just, I haven't done a show in a little while, so a podcast in a little while. So I wanted to just talk comics, talk about Comic Cons, and
absolutely,
and just have some fun.
Time.
Steve, and we're so glad to have you, man.
And do you know Brandon? You know Brandon from Dismay?
Yes, Dismay Comics. Brandon has supported my Kickstarter campaigns. I think all of them.
He's a good dude. I like Brandon a lot. A lot of fun. He always has some great videos for his campaigns too.
I can say that I read all your comics and I have some favorites. I just read all the ones that you're talking that are on Global Comics.
Oh, awesome! Yes,
great.
yes, we will discuss.
Yeah, we'll definitely discuss that. Love your book, Steve. Brendan says that's great.
Nice.
Elizabeth said, just here, listening, watching, and showing you gents some love and support. Oh, we love that, Elizabeth.
Thank you. Thank you. We're happy to have you.
And let me see what do we got here. You gotta give them a hard stare. That must be about the candy, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, the candy. Well, that's why you gotta not break the gaze.
Yeah, exactly. Amy says those spinner wheels seem like a great way to track people, but I guess they might make some people nervous too.
Prize wheel, yeah.
You know what it is? The prize wheel. It's the noise. The clacking. People, no, I know from in New York when George would spin that thing, the noise would attract a crowd because by default somebody thinks there's prizes being given away. So they come flocking over. That prize wheel is killer at a Comic-Con.
Nice.
I don't think it's something I would implement practically. I don't know. Maybe I would. I don't know. Or maybe a variation of it. But that noise, that's part of it. And that helps a lot. I saw a lot of people come by the table because of that reaction.
Nice.
Well, it was either
I agree. Like I never had one, but I think it would be a good attractor,
Yeah. What do you want to say about it, Steve?
I said it was either that or I'll just become a booth babe.
There you go, Steve. Ara's in the chat with us tonight. Hey, all ladies.
Never late. We're on your clock. The show now can officially start.
Ara, thanks for joining us as always, and always great to see you, especially last week at Haverhill.
Oh, dude, so good to hug that man.
Yeah, definitely. Elizabeth Roberts says, welcome. Jared says, except when all they do is grab your candy and nothing else. Yeah, that's the worst. You're just feeding a habit at that point, He said exactly, Johnny, but I'm not sure what that is in reference to.
Yeah, don't know.
She said, miss your face, Johnny. Of course, manly. Why I'm here. Ha ha ha.
Mainly why I'm here. Okay, got you.
Hey, Ben Soto's in with us tonight.
Hey,
what's up,
Ben.
Hey. Oh, yeah, I know him. I've been in the store a couple of
Ben's
times.
Great guy.
Oh,
Ben's wonderful.
Yeah.
I just finished. Let me talk about this for a second. I just finished lettering a couple projects for the Soto brothers. So Ben's gonna come on, I think, sometime later this year. But he works with his brother, and they both make comics, and they're doing like another like horror Halloween anthology.
Cool.
And, one of the books that one of the short stories I lettered was kind of done in the style of like an EC book, and it has like. Do you remember how like they used to do the coloring back in the comics back in those days, where it's like kind of like almost like that dot matrix kind of look?
Yes.
The coloring. So because they colored the book like that, I kind of emulated the lettering like that. Like, so I made like the outlines of the word balloons like off center, so they're
perforated or whatever.
Yeah, you remember how like it would be off center and the color would be bleeding out. Like I did stuff like that, and it helped make the aesthetic of the book, the story, better.
Yeah. And that's what a good letterer will do.
Yeah, that's true. So a good letterer will become part of the, the aesthetic of the book, I guess.
It's like the audio and the sound effects in a movie.
Absolutely. Perfect analogy. Let's see what else. So yeah, that book's coming soon. So we'll be promoting it when those boys come on the show.
Wonderful.
Elizabeth said, "I'll be your booth babe, Johnny. Johnny, you might want to take her up on that."
Oh yeah, it couldn't hurt.
Yeah,
I
right.
I wonder if you can make like tattoos, of the that little code. What do you call that thing? The
QR code.
QR code. I have like a temporary tattoo, or even a permanent one. I have a the booth,
just your link.
yeah, of the have the booth babe have it on her wrist or something, or something somewhere else. I don't know.
Like right here, like on the
right, like right above her cherry tattoos.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could afford somebody as high quality as Elizabeth. She's a professional.
Like a long time ago, I worked at a
She's really good.
Dinky grocery store, and this girl comes in, and she's looked like the part of a certain kind of girl, and she's like, hey, I want to see my new tattoo that I got on my chest. I'm like, wait, before you show me it, let me guess, cherries. She's like, how'd you know? I'm like, I lucky guess, I'm like,
couple more comments, and then we'll be through everything here.
Yeah, let's do it.
We got Ara said hugs all around, the patron saint.
Yes.
Ben said you did a great job, Keith. I just sent you pages for the next story. Oh, nice.
That's progress.
I'll get started on that one soonish. Dismay said, favorite of Steve's books for me has to be Ex
Machina. So it's Ex Machina, but with the Christmas in it.
Nice. Oh, I gotta hear about that book.
Yeah, definitely. I want to hear that too. Let me turn my ringer off before I get any more messages.
I like the style of that book, by the way. The way the colors and is pretty cool, and the drawing style too was pretty.
Shout out!
Definitely want to hear about this too.
Artist Lane Lloyd did all the art for it and coloring, and did an excellent job.
One more time on the name there, Steve.
Lane Lloyd.
Lane Lloyd. Gotcha.
And finally, Elizabeth says, "I'll gladly help out." Look at that. That's wonderful. Awesome. Yeah,
I've worked with Elizabeth before, so I know the quality of the work.
Nice, awesome. Well, that we got through the comments, which is awesome. And as newbies to the show, I like to propose like the question I always ask newbies is, something in your past, either a movie, a cartoon, or a comic that you read, kind of put you on this path to becoming a comic creator. Can you guys pinpoint what that is in your past that kind of set you on this journey? Like we'll start with Steve. You look like you're ready to go, Steve, with that answer.
Yes. My origin story is when you learn you can't draw.
Yep, that
is absolutely my origin story. My mom was a fashion designer, so she was very good at art, and I always drew comic books as a kid, and I'd put pen to paper, and my mom's like, "Yeah, I don't know if that." I don't know if you're going to be a comic artist. So, but definitely like, Spider-Man, all the X-Men 97, I'm glad is out. I'm from that era of things. So I would definitely say,
like mid 90s.
Yeah. Mid 90s. Yes. Mid 90s kids, Power Rangers, Amazing Spider-Man, Goosebumps, all those things have come together to manifest in my crazy brain here.
Nice. That's great. How about you, HDD? Is there something you can point to in the past that put you on this journey?
I say for one, Dragon Ball for sure. Is that kind of shows and stuff that got those kids running around thinking you could do a Kamehameha. And little did I know that was basically on put me down that path, because start with just marketing a Kamehameha, then thinking, okay, what will be my move in the series? And then from there just kept out building. Next thing I know, I was zoning out in class, think about entire worlds and stuff. And here I am today.
Yeah, that's what happened to me too. I never paid attention. I would be drawing. I'd be like, writing, doing everything but my homework and classwork. Failed a lot. Of
I got one of that. Is that during lunchtime, I'll just do all my homework from class too.
Yeah.
It's like this common misconception. It's like, people who paid attention in class were like, they were, they were creative and they can go on to big things. It's like we didn't pay attention in class. We were thinking about like who would win in a fight on a planet of adamantium, the Blob or the Juggernaut. You know what I mean? These were the hard hitting questions that we would think about during our school day. What if Magneto tilted the Earth off of its axis? You know?
Yeah, I'm just saying, throughout my life, I have not need to use algebra yet, but I did have to think about what happened if he tipped, like you said, Magneto tipped the Earth and such. So
And why?
who,
And why?
who wins in
Why
the
didn't
end?
he? Why didn't he do that?
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
For that
Yes, I still haven't used algebra. Well,
Exactly.
actually, when
Who
I
wins,
parallel
Miss
park,
Green?
I always wanted to know what magnets Magneto would have on his fridge because I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like they'd have to be, I feel like he'd curate them. You know what I mean? It wouldn't just be like, I feel like he would be very, very specialized for that.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. That's
That could be a comic. I might have to pitch that to Marvel.
Yeah,
Be like, hey,
I like that.
Magnets for Magneto.
They need to bring back the old "What the" comics.
Yes.
There was
Yeah.
What If, and then there was "What the."
comics. What the?
Yeah, they need to bring back "What the."
Yeah, those were fun. And what was the other one they used to have? Was it Foom? Foom was another one, like a parody comic, wasn't it? Or
Well, there was Fing Fang Foom. I don't know if they put Foom in like a parody thing. Like
yeah, there was
maybe a mini.
They had a couple, I think. Like Marvel had a couple. I don't remember what what some of the other ones were, but they've done it from time to time. Damage Controls started off as like
Marvel that was spelt like Smallville. So
Yeah,
they did something similar. Yeah.
yeah. And I think DC did do a couple too, but like Ambush Bug and a few other those like this Amazing Man and all that, But yeah, that stuff is fun. But yeah, we need a new one, I would say, for this day and age, 20 Jared said 27 years later, still no need for algebra. Yeah, it's true.
That was a sham.
Yeah, so Steve, you said you started making comics during the pandemic. Is that
Yes.
wow? So it's only been like what, 3 years for you?
I've been very, very lucky. I started with like I said, I didn't know how to draw. I've always wanted to be involved in comics somehow, but I just never found a school that was just specifically writing. Like I'm from New Jersey, so like the Kubert School, they had a lot of programs and art programs, but again, no writing. So I found the comics experience online, which taught me how to write comics, and we were off to the races. So I wrote a Killer Sloth comic in the class, fast Killer Sloth comic called Slowpokes, and people liked it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get it made. And here we are. Slowpokes made like 10 grand and after it was done. So I was like, I'm going to take whatever money I make from this and keep putting it into new projects until people are like, you know what? We're done with you.
Dude, that's awesome. I went to 1 year Kubert school, so like
wow, very cool.
Yeah, so
I'm from Flanders, New Jersey. I'm from Flanders, New Jersey.
What city?
Flanders, New Jersey.
Okay,
it's northern. So it's close to like Rockaway Mall. Like
okay. Yeah, I worked at Rockaway Mall when I was there for 2 years.
Wow. Did you work in the comic store there, Hero Town, I think, or
I know, but I knew that guy. I used to go in there a couple times. But the store I actually liked was further down. I forget the name of it. It was
it Bob's Cards and Comics in Hackettstown? There's one there. There was one in Morristown, Fat Moose Comics and Games in Lake Hiawatha, I think.
No, God, I can't remember the name. It was down 46, but yeah, I don't want to get into like a whole.
That's right. Hey, small world, right? Comics,
yeah,
comics
right.
Together.
It really is.
Yeah, I worked at the theater.
Well, even
there.
the fact that you knew comics, right? These are small circles that we walk within. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's true. And yeah, it's funny. That's funny that you're from New Jersey, huh? But what was I gonna say? Yeah, you're right though. I wish there was more classes for comics. I think we're eventually going to get more of those, but like, so is comic experience like a full like comic course? Like I've never taken it.
Full online school.
Tyler.
Full online school. That's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, no, wait. Comics experience. That's Andy Schmidt.
Yes, Andy Schmidt. Yes. Him
That's
and Paul
Andy
Eller
Schmidt's course. Correct. Yep.
Yeah, they also have a publishing thing too, because I believe that's the publisher that put out George O'Connor's comic and also put out Joe Schmalke's book too.
Was it Source Point Press?
I think so. Yeah.
Yes.
No, the one that George put out through them was that the the one about the homeless guy. I forget what the name of that book was. Do you remember which one I'm talking
Charlie
about?
Spot.
Charlie Spot. Yeah, the
Charlie
Comic
Spot.
Experience put
Charlie
out
Spot's
that
my
book.
favorite book of George's.
Oh, it's great. It deserved to be published. And then Comic Experience also publishes Joel Schmalke's 7 Years in Darkness, which is kind of like if Harry Potter went to like a school for evil dark magic, you know. So
Cool.
it's kind of like one of those kind
Nice.
of books, but it's pretty good. I read the first
That's
couple.
awesome.
I liked
That's
it.
a good premise.
Yeah, no, it's cool that they actually put out books too, you know. Like I don't know Comic Experience well. I've heard of them, but it's cool that they are doing stuff like that. So, and then so from there you kind of just started making comics. And
Yeah, the first
Back
Kickstarter
then?
did well, and then from then on, I was like, well, you know, I'm known for fast killer sloths. That's my thing for the rest of my life, I guess. People send me, look, I have it right here.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, people send me sloth stuff all the time. So this says damn show.
That's funny.
But from there, I was like, you know what? I want to keep writing, keep doing stories that I want to make, and so far so good. I have Zombie Date Night was second, which is a blind date interrupted by zombie invasion. So it's basically like, you know, if you're going on this first date with a person and it's awkward and it's weird, and then zombies come, it's like, do you stay? Do you go? What happens? You know what I mean? Like, is it worth it?
Yeah, right.
So
You like
that's
you have
where that
really
came
no
from.
attachment to this person, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, the awkwardness of dating, but with zombies.
Okay, I like that. How about you, HDD? Have you been making comics, or is this your first one that you're making now?
For yes, kind of. I know for Relentlessly Brutal Hill, it was like my first comic that I made all the way through down to crowdfunding and such. And then,
Okay.
of course, now I'm on to doing number 2, and then the Storm and White is another comic manga thing I'm trying to do.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I saw the images for it. It looks really cool. Like it looks. You said it was Jet Set Radio inspired, which I used to love that game. So I could see the similarities
Yeah.
to it immediately when I saw the images, which is
Oh
really
yeah, for
cool.
sure. You know, like the fun part about making stories is that, you know, you can make whatever stories you want. So, you know, the easy part of inspiration for me at time for story is instead of overly worrying about doing the most original stuff possible, I'm just like, you know what? The world I haven't seen in a while. I just said radio-based world. Hey,
Yeah,
why don't I take my own spin at the world and such and do that? And then boom. You know, I didn't have to reinvent the wheel. Just, hey, you know, we haven't had this kind of good content in a while. Why not
Yeah.
just, you know, take it, you know, mix some other things, put my ideas, and let's have a good old time.
Yeah, I like that. Did you know? When I was setting up the broadcast last week, I saw that it was still like Kickstarter preview page. Did your campaign launch yet, or when are you planning to launch?
It has not launched yet. Hopefully plan to launch it later this year. It's just that I don't like for a hard date because I kind of like to have the book either completely done or like basically nil completed before I launch, because
Man.
I'm a little bit lazy, so I don't want to deal with that. Okay, I start the campaign, the book's not finished, and then end and it's still not finished, and now I'm
Yeah, and you get
constantly
that pressure to get it done.
exactly panicking, going, oh, how about this? You know, all that stuff. You know, so I'm like, I'll be honest, I can wait. I can just wait, see when it's done, and then, oh yeah, you know, here it is. And then from then it's just, all right, Kickstarter. All I have to do now is just worry about being on sales and make sure people support it. And then once that done and surveys go out and come back, all right, order it, boom, done. Not have to wait.
Yeah.
Everything else is basically not on me if something happens. Like even for the first one I did, plenty of people I got, they're good people, great stuff, good quality stuff to produce, but they were moving while I placed my order. So there was a slight delay in fulfillment and such, which, you know, I'm fine with. You know, I was only off by like a month. And even then the turnaround was like,
people are forgiving on that, you know.
Yeah. So it was like,
was that Comics Wellspring that you were going through?
Closed was like 2-3 months. I'm sorry, what was it?
Johnny,
I was just guessing, was that Comics Wellspring that was moving?
Yeah.
That you went through for your thing, fulfillment?
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah, that
Great
happened. Well,
people.
I didn't have a campaign, but it took me probably the longest I've ever had to wait for them was like 2.5 months or something to get books. But they're pushing them out
I think
now.
they're back up to speed
Yeah,
now.
they're pushing them back out now.
Yeah,
so
Yeah. So
but
that's why I
that's
don't really
cool.
mind.
I
'Cause
really
this
like
went
your approach.
Oh, no, sorry. I was just about to say, and that's why I didn't really mind it because, like, just going from fulfillment
Yeah,
from
please.
when a campaign ends, it just goes from okay, you get your books in 2 months to 3 months. Which, funny enough, just today, a lot of my bag has been sending me pictures going like, "Hey, yeah, I got the books." I'm like, "Okay, good." I don't think anyone will care about
That's
that.
such a good feeling.
It is,
Oh
and
yeah,
it's a
for sure.
smart
Such a
way
good
to
feeling
do
when
a
you get those
campaign.
photos. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Smart
Yeah.
way to do.
I was just going to say, I like your approach because there's so right, exactly. I was just going to say it's smart because it's like running a campaign is so anxiety inducing enough. To have the project incomplete during the campaign is like taking that and turning it up to 11. So to have a completed product going into the campaign is so much better.
It's like
so much
it's like
more
self-inducing
calm and-
anxiety, right?
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah,
if you have
yeah,
your
it really
thing done
is.
first, yeah, you cause your own anxiety, I guess.
Oh,
If you do it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You really do.
Yeah, I think when I started for the last one, the only thing that wasn't really done was like the bonus page at the end, and that's had little to do with like the main story. In fact, I did like this fun little thing about this campaign where it's like, there's a tier you could submit to, and if you do, you get to basically submit a hero design to show up in the bonus page, and your characters with all, or basically most of the main characters of the book it's in. So that was like the only part that wasn't done, and that took like less than a week to complete all of them. So it's like, yeah, because
Nice.
I feel like it's overall better. It can also account for like real life issues that might pop up because if someone gets sick or something happens, then all of a sudden everything's thrown off base and you don't know what, and then depending on who you are, some people might just start asking for the money back because they're like, okay, I don't think I want to wait for that long since, as you all know, the indie space have issues in the past about having completed comics and such. So some people are a lot more skeptical. So it's like, I would just not deal with that hoopla so I can just go, hey, I got a product. It's done. Do you want it or not? And then if you do, that's great. If not,
if you
understandable.
do it that way, it's easier because like people know it's coming, especially if you mention it in the comments or the description when you put the campaign together.
Oh, for sure.
And then also go ahead,
and if
Johnny.
you communicate to the audience, if you communicate to the audience regularly, they'll stay connected. They'll stay, kind of within that trust bubble.
Oh, yeah, that too. And thankfully, during that slight delay, I was keeping people updated, going like, oh yeah, blah blah blah. This is the update. The printing should be coming soon. Blah blah blah. Okay, yeah, the ship is now happening. Prepare your books in like a week or two, and then so on and so forth. I even just put a new update today, going okay, yeah, it seemed like some of the backers are getting the books, so watch out for your own.
Awesome.
And honestly, it's not really that hard. Just being somewhat responsible, because most of the time it's literally just message, hey, this is what's currently happening. Boom.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't get how people can make it harder than it seems.
Yeah, no, I think it's just being responsible for your own campaign. Sending out regular updates, building the campaign with completed pages so people have the confidence in backing you, things like that, really help make you successful in the long run. And then in HD, in your having the book completely done is even bigger. Most people need the money to make the book, so a lot of it's never finished, so it's cool that you do that. Couple more
it's fun.
Oh yeah, definitely. Couple more
it's also fun because like with the pages I can do a lot more creative things like trailers and such as if you don't have like computer stuff, then you kind of have to I guess you could say spaghetti things like trailer and stuff. If you have it all completed, you know exactly how you can make some fun stuff with it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Good. More comments coming in here. Elizabeth said she's amazing. Ask Johnny, he knows. I don't know what that was a reference to. So I got to keep up with this chat so we know what the references are. Amy said Keith was Mr. Aeropostale. That was when I worked in New Jersey at the Rockaway Mall. I did work at Aeropostale, which
I can see that.
Can you picture me there? It was literally me and women. That's it. It was bizarre that they even hired me. I don't even know what, but that's a whole other.
I was today years. Sorry, Steve. Go on.
I said he was the booth babe.
I was.
Oh, yeah.
He was the booth babe.
I worked at the Discovery Channel store once. I used to fly around.
Years old when I. Sorry.
No.
Sorry. I just want to say I was today years old when I learned the proper pronunciation of that store's name. Aeropostale. I didn't know that.
I think that's the proper pronunciation. I'm not 100%.
Well, you weren't there though, so you think you would know, right?
Yeah, you think.
I believe it's
all I know is they hated me after about a month, so they started cutting my schedule, but I refused to quit. So eventually they just fired me. Eventually, but like I don't know what happened. I don't know how I got on anyone's bad side, but it. I think it's because I was a guy, I don't know.
Yeah. Who knows? Harry, what were you saying before I rudely interrupted you?
Oh, I forget. But I got fired too from my job at the Discovery Channel store. I used to fly around little helicopters, and that's all they had me do, like stock shelves and fly the like by the entrance, like fly little helicopters around. And then like during the holidays, basically it was basically holiday work. And the phone was ringing off the hook, and nobody was answering it. I'm like, I'll just answer it. Like, hello, thank you for calling. Where am I right now? I forgot what store I was in, right? Working at, because only like holiday work. And the guy was like, "Who is this?" I'm like, it's, nobody. I gotta go. And I hung up. It was actually the district manager that was calling. So I got pulled aside. It's like, Harry, that wasn't district manager. I think we're all set here. I'm like, oh, thanks for having me.
Whoops.
Whatever.
Steve, you were saying something? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was saying while you're talking about Aeropostale right now, there's an Aeropostale podcast and they're talking about you. Talking about
some universe.
Can you imagine?
Some alternate universe.
Amy said, question, do you think film writing classes could help aspiring comic book writers? I mean, somewhat. I mean, the two mediums are very different, but they share a lot of similarities. Wouldn't you say, Johnny?
Well, so here's the thing, and I think we talked about this a little bit in a previous episode, is that when you write for film, you're writing with the thought process that you are writing dialogue for actors that are going to be saying them back and forth to each other. That's a whole lot different than writing to page real estate. Layouts on a page that's limited. So you really have to think about that. Like, you want to be economical in your page counts for your issues. So if you have these really long, drawn out, wordy things that are meant for film versus, say, something that's meant for a page turn, that's drastically different. To learn how to write, yes, that could help. To learn how to write comic books specifically, no.
Gotcha.
Well, both use thumbnails too, right? Like thumbnail, little like
storyboards.
Right, storyboards. Like they do that in movies too, so that could probably help in that way.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
it can definitely help. It's just that you gotta understand that you're making two different things here. So you can take spark notes from it, but don't actually take it from foot by foot. Yeah,
they're definitely different. They pace differently too. Like. So you gotta. I think you could learn similar things like structure of a script and things like that. But then you gotta be able to break the differences between two. It almost would help if you did both, right? Like wrote screenplay and a comic script and then see what each turns out like.
Or wrote a comic book movie.
Yeah.
There you go.
Do that.
Just two birds with one stone, Harry.
Right.
The simplicity of that.
Right.
Steve, do you have some thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's like you're saying to read both and check it out. Definitely in comics, less is more. The less dialogue, the better. Make your story come across a lot better. Some books that I definitely would recommend for anybody writing, whether you're writing film or writing comics. Save the Cat. That one has been very good. Robert McKee's story and dialogue, those completely changed my writing style. Like if you read from Slowpokes to now, it's like, okay, I'm starting to get different things now out of this. That would help. And I think, those two are coming to mind. But Robert McKee, man, that book about story will change your whole perspective on writing and listening and movies and comic books, just for context and subtext. That'll definitely help.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's good. I never heard of those. I'll have to take a look at.
I have one of Robert McKee's books on my shelf. I was
do
just
you
looking to
really?
see if I could find
Wow.
it. Yeah. I forget which one it is, but I do have one of them, and he is very insightful. If like you're looking to really up your game, like Steve said, Robert McKee's work is fantastic.
I'll have to look that up. I wasn't familiar with either of those. For me, like comics was always ingrained in me, even when I was a tiny kid. Like I knew I wanted to be in comics. So like I kind of like I could look at it and kind of get it, like in a weird broad sense. Like, but I mean, it's like with anything, you got to learn it and keep,
and the more you do it, the better you'll get at it.
The better you get the craft at it, But like even when I was younger, I was making my own like Garfield comics, and you know what I mean. Like it was all I knew when I was a little kid.
Have you ever seen Garfield without Garfield?
Yeah, those are hilarious.
Those are my favorite things in the world.
Yeah, it just makes John look like a psychopath, which is awesome. But yeah, no, I that's what I wanted to be originally. It was a comic strip artist, but then I found comics when I was in junior high, and that changed everything, So, but it's a whole thing. Like it was always in my blood, and like I knew even when you were a really young kid, and people would ask you what you want to be in life. And most kids didn't know. I was always like cartoonist. I always wanted to be in this industry. And so kind of glad I'm
that's
here,
cool.
Yeah.
And here you are, you're running your own Comic-Con. It's pretty cool.
Comic-Con. Yeah. Making my own comics, which sometimes I the Comic-Con gets in the way of me making comics, which is kind of like, but I love all of it. So
I'll pose this question to everybody. For making comics, what is your schedule? Like, do you work every day on it? Do you do monthly? Do you have a specific routine that you use? Question to everybody here.
Okay. Johnny, you want to start?
Yeah, I can go. So I work a full-time job. I got family responsibilities. I do a YouTube show bi-weekly, mostly weekly. I'm not without weekly things going on in my life, so it's really hard sometimes to even get like the mental capacity to be able to hunker down and start writing. That being said, I try to fit it in wherever I can, wherever there's a free moment to do so. But I also consider to be, and we've talked about this plenty of times before in the past, that writing is also not writing.
Yes.
So thinking on projects, thinking of ideas, playing out story scenarios in your head. This is all considered writing per se.
Yes.
So to that point, one thing I like to do is I don't like to end the day unless I've done some form of writing, even if it's just thinking through storylines in my head, finding maybe notes or something that sticks and making notes on that. And even if it's just making notes, Amy saw me at Haverhill where I had it open. So just in case if things were slow at that Comic-Con, I could do some quick research, make some quick notes. And then that way, when it comes down to actually hunker down and write, everything's really just there. And it's a matter of putting the pieces together. It's almost like doing your taxes where you photograph every single receipt.
Sure you have all the pieces.
And then when it comes time in April, when you're last minute like me, you're sorting everything out and you're putting it all together and you're maximizing your return.
And hopefully you don't go to jail.
Yeah, right.
Hopefully you don't go to jail.
Honestly, Johnny, I do that myself too. Like I will not build an outline until I know the story from beginning to end in my head. And that can be months, but I don't think about, like, there's days that I don't do any comic book stuff as far as like writing and creating. Every day I'm doing lettering. That's become almost my main job now. So I'm always doing stuff with comics, but not necessarily my own comics, if that makes sense.
Right.
But all the lettering, helps me get better at making my own comic, you know? So,
Absolutely.
but I always like especially now with the convention coming up, most of my writing has kind of gone to the back seat, but I always try to, like, at least once a week, try to sneak something in. Like, let me reread that script again, or let me revise something, and, or start putting the next book together, that kind of thing. So I do try to get something in probably once every 2 weeks. I try to at least, but then after the convention's over, it becomes more about creating the comics then for me, until probably the winter when the convention starts up again, as far as like, sending out applications and things like that, so what were you going to say, Johnny? So yeah, you can.
No, I was just going to say that like functionally every day you are doing something comic related. So by rule of thumb, you're actively doing it. You're actively staying connected to comics, no matter what else is happening in your life.
Yeah. And then this show helps me stay connected to, I guess, the networking side of comics, because I'm meeting both of you gents tonight for the first time. And now you've become part of our collective, and now we all know each other, and,
like the Borg, or a comic Borg.
Yeah. But, I like that.
But in a weird way, I think we're all kind of the same, because like, I mean, I'm not a writer or a comic book creator really per se. I'm an artist, graphic designer, illustrator, whatever. And so I get weird ideas at the most random times. If I'm driving by a street sign, I'm like, oh, that's a kind of funny sign, and it makes me think of something else, and I draw. I don't draw, but I write down a quick description of what drawing I want to do next. And I think I was reading your book, one of your books, Steve. I forget which one it was. Maybe the zombie one. I think that's
Zombie Date Night.
Yeah, Zombie Date Night. And I think at some point you guys were talking about like maybe octopuses or octopus or maybe something to do with that. But anyway, somehow I got the idea of octopuses, whatever. And I'm like, how funny would it be and this idea was already taken, like if I always make sure the idea is not taken first before I waste my time doing it. And I'm like, oh, octopus, like I like drawing things, like sea things, things from the sea, whatever. And I'm like, how funny would that be, like a octopi Wall Street, But then I looked it up, and of course there's like a zillion octopi Wall Street.
Okay. So
I'm like, crap. But I compiled a bunch of like images for my Wall Street drawing, and I'm like, I mean, I guess I could do my own version of it, But the fact that the idea already exists, I'm like, it's not original, I want to be original. So I have a whole list of like original, thoughts, that I've already researched them to know that they don't exist. I mean, they could be taken as I'm speaking right now, but I do have like a list written down, or if I think of something really good, I research it real quick and I do a quick little drawing of it and I put it out there with my little like HG under it, my initials, to make sure that it's mine, it's like my original thought.
But I mean, all three of you, come from different lives, different walks of life, but you all have similar methods and routines, which means that it's working, and that's something that should be applauded. Which is
like awesome. I can't turn it off though.
When you're creative, that's how it goes.
Right. Right now, my day job right now isn't really in the art business, but like as I'm like someone's talking, I think of something, or someone's trying to solve a problem or do something creative. I'm like, I know how to, how about like this, I'm like, I can't turn it off, it's almost like a curse almost, like this.
So that's what being creative is.
It's like a faucet.
Yeah.
Sometimes like little ideas will come out, it'll drip, and then sometimes it'll be like, oh, like a big rush.
Right.
At like 3 a.m.
Have that
in the morning.
pad ready, right. Nope app on your phone ready to go.
Right.
I just wanted to say, sorry, Harry. I just wanted to say, just to rewind real quick, don't let a like-minded idea discourage you from doing your story.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason why I say that is because you never. Right. Yeah. You can tell your story your way. Number one. Number two, much like our friend HDD here, his story looks like it's as he said, is an homage to Jet Set Radio. You can look historically at TV shows that are all like-minded and are kind of adjacent. When Married with Children was no longer on TV, there was a another show. It starred Nikki Cox. It had
Oh, I remember
Bobcat Goldthwait as the puppet. A puppet.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
It was
Whatever
just
that was.
Married with Children, but it was
Basically.
a different version of it. It was a homage. It was
Did you see-
it was filling the void where there was absence, much like HDD was saying earlier.
Johnny, did you see the cartoon coming out of that Married Children
Yeah,
cartoon?
we
did,
did, yeah.
It's pretty cool.
That could be
That's
fun.
a good way to do it since they're all a lot older now.
Right, and it can't age.
Right. Can
I have some minor gripes with it, but I'm really looking forward to that because I'm a
Yeah, it
very
was-
big Married with Children fan. I was very
that
foundational
they're-
in my sense of humor.
Yep.
Yeah,
Me
and
too.
I'm about to say back on the like originality thing. Yeah, I try not to worry too much. I also like no one to try to do anything original. Like no, of course, if you have something original, go for it. But like, try not to overly obsess over it because like, being with media like the last 10 years or 20 years, you just do something original. You're basically going against the concept of basically storytelling in general, which spans from thousands of years. So in a sense,
Nothing's original.
almost nearly no matter what, someone probably did something tangentially what you thought of. And so for me, it's less of trying to be 100% original, so much as it is how do I do something my
you
way.
find your original voice in the story that's been done before. Yeah, definitely.
Because
Your
everything
voice,
comes
that's
from, everything comes from something. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
everything is influenced by something. Like but it's all your experiences. Think about like rappers, right? Or people who make beats. They'll make beats based on their experiences. They'll make beats based on like, oh, they'll sample things that they like and they'll make it into their own. So that's kind of what you guys will be are doing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wu-Tang.
kind of like just because another story had the sky is blue doesn't mean your sky now has to be red. It's like no, it's okay. The sky can be blue too. Like you don't
That's
need
great,
to
yeah.
reinvent the sky every time.
Kind of like Tombstone, that movie. You guys watched the movie Tombstone with and the scene, the gunslinging.
Russell.
Yeah, right. With the gunslinging, like I forget what the character's name was, but he was doing this. Johnny Ringo was like doing all these like gun flips and to show how fast he was with the gun. And just always like gun flips and whatever, and sticks him in his like a holster. And then Doc Holliday is like he was trying to like get Doc Holliday's attention and see who's the fastest gun in the West, And then Doc Holliday takes his like little like coffee cup and does his little like twists and like basically shows them up with the coffee cups, like puts them in his like holsters, like okay, and everyone's like clapping, I mean that was like an original way to disarm the situation, even though it was kind of like volatile, but like in his own way.
Yeah, like something you hadn't seen in a Western before,
right?
Too. Like, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
he stole that movie, by the way.
Oh yeah, absolutely did.
Yeah,
I was going to say with Steve, you made a great example about like rappers and beats, and I mean, if we listen to Wu-Tang,
Yes.
everything is RZA's influence. Kung Fu movies,
Yes.
comic books,
Absolutely.
the Avengers, all that stuff. You could see it permeating in the music, the same way you could see influences permeating through comics.
Exactly.
A lot of indie comics.
Absolutely.
You can tell when you read a book and someone who's like, "Oh, I was inspired by this," or they could have been inspired by that.
Oh, absolutely. Some great stuff coming through on the chat here. Jared said, "Yeah, I always like the book 100% done before the campaign, talking about what HDD does."
Yep.
Devil Flyer with us tonight. What's up, buddy? Good to see you here. Let's see what's up. We got more and more. Harry in his TARDIS. Rip Doctor.
Wait, who? Which one? Oh,
Did Doctor Who die?
Current.
No,
Well,
just I think the
some of
show,
them
like
have, some of them.
people are. It's got the lowest ratings right now. No one's watching it.
Oh.
I mean, at least they're trying. I don't have anything against the current guy. I mean, whatever. But it's some of the writing can be too political and too non-Doctor Who, basically.
I'm gonna have to watch it and make my own judgment. I think on that one.
What would you suggest for a young anime artist, 14 years old, to take for classes? Oh, that's an interesting one.
That's a good one for
Anatomy
artists.
and perspective.
What'd you say?
Outside
HDD?
that, anatomy and perspective.
Yeah.
Recently I've been trying to learn how to draw and beyond. That's like the two things you probably gonna need some guys because everything else outside that is just style. And you can easily learn that from just watch your favorite manga, YouTube videos and all that. But stuff like
Yeah.
anatomy and perspective is, I won't say it's impossible to learn on the internet, but if you're going to go to class or something, might as well get it over the basics, because with those two, you can basically do whatever you want.
That what you're talking about there is just the foundations of just art. Like I remember taking lots of art classes, and like stuff like that used to annoy me because like it was all like fine art stuff, and I didn't realize till years later that stuff was so important to like even just drawing like a tacky, like a Garfield comic. You got to know anatomy and perspective.
Well,
like you got to be
say,
able to.
I would say not necessarily, because when I was growing up, I mean, I self-taught myself. I mean, I'm self-taught. I never really took classes growing. I mean, I had art classes, through school and everything, public school, but I never really like took art classes.
They never tackled like anatomy or perspective.
Later on, I
okay.
did, maybe in college and things like that. But like when I was starting out, I used to watch the TV shows like Captain Bob and like other drawing shows. Mark Kistler, had like a drawing show for kids. I don't know if you guys remember. I'm pretty old, but I also would trace things. Like one of the best ways to like practice drawing is like tracing other work. I'm very old school. Like I used what I had in my hands. I didn't have like a light table, or a tablet. So I took like a piece of paper and maybe a cartoon I would put under my paper, and I would draw against a window or something, or against my TV screen. I would practice that. And once you draw something once or twice or 3 times, you can probably do it on your own now, because you know where the lines are and where they should go. I bought my friend, one of my best friends, her daughter, I bought her a light table to help her start drawing. So I would, practice, start off tracing, simply, and then like just keep drawing a little bit each day, and whatever. It's just practice. Anything else?
Yeah, no, I mean,
I agree with that.
What's that?
I was just saying that, in general, if you had to, I was saying I agree with that about, how, tracing, or I usually do referencing where I don't exactly trace it, but like I look at the image as I try to recreate it, so that I'm still doing the basics to construct the image, so that I know that, okay, I'm doing it because I have the knowledge to do it, than simply doing the line over. Because sometimes if you don't know how like they got chin one way, you're not gonna be able to recreate it. You don't know, okay, how did they get that chin like that from, like the circle basis for the head and such.
Yeah.
I'll just answer the question, since, I was saying, like, if he had to take a class, might as well do like the very important stuff that can be very difficult.
You'd want to do like a traditional art class and learn the basics of art, because it all pertains to comic art as well. Like it's just, you don't see it at the time, but yeah, it's all there. All the foundational stuff you need. Anatomy and perspective are huge for anime comics and everything.
Especially perspective.
Oh my God. Like, and I'm still not great at perspective. Like even when I was at Kubert school, I had such a hard time with it. Especially like if what you guys are talking about, you see a scene on TV and you trace over it with a, tracing paper. But what I'm talking about is like, what if you want to create the whole thing out of your head, and you have to figure out that horizon line and where, like where the camera is that, that's looking at, because, the camera is the viewer's eye, so trying to figure out the angle and how that relates to the perspective. It's hard, and I still don't quite understand it that well, like
and think about how wild some of those Spider-Man covers are, where like, the perspective eye is not necessarily normal to what you would normally see. So you'd have a close up on Spidey's face, but the ground is way lower. And, you'd have built high-rise buildings surrounding you at different levels, and it's like stuff like that you could still be able to pull off. It's amazing.
Well, that and how many covers have you seen where he's above the skyline, and like what is his web holding on to? Like, know what I mean? Like, even in the old cartoons, he would be swinging above the city. Like I was like, how did that one get by somebody?
Right.
But like, but that's all perspective stuff, and definitely important. I would say, I mean, if you got someone that wants to learn to be an artist, got to start with the fundamentals, and then hopefully he could probably take some classes on the side that are to keep him interested in anime and manga and stuff. Because I know manga has and even anime has some wild styles. So like you could develop that after you understand the basics. I would say, you know.
I know who she's talking about. She's referencing her daughter Olivia, and her daughter Olivia is actually pretty good, better than most, I would say, who are just getting started. She needs to learn sequentials. She needs to learn perspective. But I think, you know, if she starts early, which she's doing now, she'll be great when she's, you know, well into it.
Awesome. All right. Yeah. And so let me go through the rest of these comments and then we'll start moving through the show here.
Yeah.
Devil Flyer said, hit that like button. I like that. Yeah.
Thank you for the promotion there, Devil Flyer.
Absolutely. Diaz, I haven't seen you in a while, man. Thanks for
welcome
joining
back.
the show. You even said it's been a while since I watched you guys. Thanks for coming on, man. Good to see you as always. Amy said all will be assimilated.
Sweet.
lots of drawn notes, piles of them everywhere. I think that was about our discussion.
Yeah. Ideas are a dime a dozen. Stringing them together into context, that's the key.
Yep. They missed the mark with Married with Grandchildren instead.
That's genius.
That would have been
That's
good.
a genius
She's
idea.
an amazing artist, asked Johnny. Yep. Yep. So that's awesome. That's great. I definitely foster that. I think that's really good skill, you know. And then Amy's fine art instructions is all about composition, perspective, anatomy study, and those are all important for comic art. Yeah, absolutely.
It's pretty funny that word, that instruction school. You ever see the commercial that you know, the instruction school, you know, draw a pirate.
Oh, where you draw the head.
Yeah,
draw the head of the turtle or whatever.
Yeah, so I'm like, that's kind of cool, you know. So I actually signed up for that, you know, and they sent me like a thing in the mail, like to draw, you know, one of the three things, like the pirate, the turtle, or whatever it is. So I'm like, oh, let's draw the pirate. I think that's the most difficult one, you know. So I drew it. I sent it to them. They liked it. They graded it. They gave me like a, you know, whatever, a good grade on it. I'm like, I learned nothing. I just copied I just copied the pirate that was already there. Like, why would I do this? You know? And they came to my house to talk to me. And like, yeah, Harry, we really liked your pirate drawing there. I'm like, I just copied what you had, you know, like I didn't do my own pirate, you know.
So there's no school behind it?
Nothing at all. Nothing. It was a sham because then like so basically the class was each week we'll send you a new pre-drawn drawing and you can draw it. I'm like, it's so stupid. Like, why would I do that? You know, I can do that myself. Like, I don't need you guys. I don't need to pay money for that. Like, what kind of scam is this? You know.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Yeah, right.
Actually, so this is a good point in the show before we start going into the promo stuff. Should we take a moment for one of Harry's tangents?
Oh, sweet. Yeah, let's take a look at this.
Oh yeah, let's roll the video.
It's pretty scary. Anything weird, because I have a weird sense of humor too. So well, I mean, I think I've shared the story before, and like, oh yeah, Superman 3, Catherine Tate from Doctor Who was at.
And Harry, would you like to say what this tangent this week is going to be about?
Well, in the past 2 weeks, there's been some funny memes, like with James Gunn's Superman, you know, that meme, that picture was revealed. And then this past week was the first portrait of King Charles of England, you know. I'm sure people have seen it by now, like the red.
Let's if you haven't seen it, let's all take a look at what Harry's referencing here. Yeah. It's pretty horrifying if you guys haven't seen it.
Yikes. Oh, you know, like it's like red rum.
It's like nightmare fuel, I think. Like
well, they refer to it as a horror movie poster or something, like covered in blood or something. But
have you seen this, any of you guys? Johnny, Steve,
I'll let the guests chime in first on this one.
It makes me really in the mood for some Hawaiian Punch.
Yeah.
That's great.
I saw this on Twitter. I was thinking to myself, did they not have any checkers? Like, did no one just look there and just be like, yeah, I don't think this is a good look? Like
this guy, his name is Jonathan Yeo, or Yeo, I guess. He's a UK-based artist. And it says here it took him 3 years to paint this thing. And
I think he forgot the deadline. I think this shit was due tomorrow. It's like, oh crap, what do we?
Yeah,
I gotta get this. I gotta get this out.
Red on it. Yeah,
he's got the face and hands.
It was like that he left the wet filter on,
or something,
except for the head.
I can tell you what I think of it when I look at it. I think He has a Vigo. He's like the buzzing of the flies to him.
That's
You,
one of the
you took the
comparisons.
words right out of my mouth, Keith. I was like, this is straight out of Ghostbusters too.
That's definitely one of the comparisons they came up with. One of the memes of this painting that came out this week.
So, yeah, so there's a lot of memes, and I got them popped up here before the shows, which is funny. But the best one is the first one I'm going to show is the one Harry made. So Harry decided it'd be funny to merge last week's meme with this week's meme. So without further ado,
That's great.
I'm very proud of the hands that are up. You know, he's like trying to get out.
Yeah,
of
it
the,
looks
like the negative zone
from Superman.
It does look like
Running
the Phantom Zone, like some Zod.
Yeah.
Phantom Zone's right.
I was gonna make it give it like a blue hue to it, you know, like the Phantom Zone, but no, it's the red is what makes it funny. You know, so I left it.
That's great.
That's funny. That's
Yeah,
great.
it's really funny. And then a couple of the other ones that popped up, the Vigo,
Oh,
of
yeah,
course,
the
There you go.
there,
Yep.
which is great.
It's Ghostbusters 2, but make me a tampon.
Yeah, right.
Pretty much.
Or Ghostbusters 2, but throw all the slime that was under the
Yeah,
city.
yeah.
onto
Oh,
the
yeah.
thing.
It looks
evil
like he
slime.
does look like he was slimed.
Yeah,
Bad
he
mood
does.
slime.
Yeah, the mood slime.
Well, Kendrick Lamar and Drake are going through this war. Maybe he's like going to drop this as a mixtape.
Yeah, right. And then of course we got the Prince Charles and Carbonite.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
No incinerations.
Yeah, and then this one I thought was really funny too.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Absolutely.
Right there.
He does look like the Bram Stoker's Dracula. It's
He
fantastic.
does.
And then my suggestion, which actually this one was interesting that Harry shared. It was a video.
Yeah,
I'm
just
not
saw
gonna
this.
play the sound because you don't really need the sound, but oh my god, this is crazy. So I don't know if this was intentional or not, but I'm gonna play this video for you guys right now.
Yeah.
So this is crazy. Watch what happens here.
Some guy
Get the
discovered
hell
this.
outta here.
When you put them together,
Oh my god.
yikes!
Oh my god.
like,
Oh my god.
Isn't that
Oh my God.
crazy?
like the yikes!
Oh yikes. That's
Hey, yo.
sketchy. It's
Dude,
sketchy
isn't that
AF.
crazy?
That is pretty crazy.
That
Isn't
is
that nuts?
sketchy.
Isn't that nuts?
The
though?
power
Like,
of Christ compels you.
yeah.
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 The power of
We
Christ.
gotta
But,
do
I was saying
Boy,
like
I
you
hope
should
someone
get
got
the
fired
lady.
for that blunder.
Yeah, right. I was saying like they should get that lady that painted the Jesus picture to fix it. You guys remember that? This
Yes.
is wonderful.
Yes.
she painted Andre the Giant from Princess Bride. Am I right?
Yeah, that is. That looks like one of my sloths.
Yeah. I love that image. Dude. I think it's whenever I want to laugh, I bring this up because it puts a smile on my face,
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's so funny.
Oh, that's great.
But yeah, we got so many. What are people saying here? This is great. Never seen it, but it kind of looks gross. I'm getting gore vibes from this.
It kind of looks like a Lady Gaga's meat dress, kind of a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Oh, a little bit.
Oh, and Elizabeth's gonna take off. Thanks for joining us, Elizabeth.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, thank you for watching.
Thanks for
us.
watching. Appreciate
Hale,
you.
Creators Outlet, thanks for joining us. Good to see you, man. Amy says the core vibe fits with some of the popular conspiracy theories about the Royals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see that.
What is that? Are they cannies?
Or the candies.
Carnies, maybe? Carnies. It's like
Not too sure.
Mad Folden. Yeah, definitely. Remember the Mad Foldens? Yeah,
It is a mad
definitely.
fold in.
That is a mad. Yeah.
He's related to Vlad,
Yep.
who painted that Sam Smith. Jonathan Yeo is the artist. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
So a lot of people like thinking the same thing with that for Charles stuff. There's
Now,
always seems
now
to
I
be-
got a craving for Hawaiian punch. Thanks, Steve.
Right? Yeah, right. Or
It's
Jello,
Hawaiian
like,
punch.
Jello or something, you know. But yeah, no, that's awesome. The other thing, like, I wanted to play for you guys tonight too is we got like some awesome stuff happening with Plastic City Comic Con, And we have our first, we've been doing this con for like 7 years, and we have our first exclusive, which is fantastic. So here, take a look at this. So it's
that's awesome. I gotta have that. I gotta have it.
That's gonna be a Plastic City Comic-Con exclusive. It's a #1 from Archie Comics. It's the Wicked Trinity, which is they're part of the if you guys have seen or even read the Sabrina the Teenage Witch comics, she has the villains, the Wicked Trinity. It's gonna be their own one shot, I guess.
I think you guys should reenact that cover with the three of you guys, put your faces on.
That'd be funny.
You have your assignment for next week.
Yeah. That'd be funny. But yeah, no, I think it's really cool. We partnered with a new friend to me that I met through the store, Mellow Fellow Trading Company. This guy's name is Ben, and he does these exclusive covers mostly for Archie and for other smaller companies like IDW and things like that. And he's going to be at the show, which is cool, but he offered to make an exclusive for Plastic City. And my good friends Scott McFarland and Ken Berube from Angry Dad Comics drew that cover. So I can't wait to see it with all the the actual logos and the Archie stuff on there. And I think on the back it's going to actually have the Plastic City Comic-Con logo on it. So you can only get it at our show, which will be great. Yeah. And they're going to be doing another Archie exclusive as well, and possibly a T-shirt. We'll have to see as that comes together, So, but yeah, no, it's going to be cool. So I'm really excited about that. So
we need an exclusive graphic for an exclusive report or.
Upcoming. Oh, like a breaking news kind of thing. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Dramatic music.
That's awesome. But yeah, no. So we're at like an hour and 24 minutes. So I figured we should start looking at some of you guys' stuff that you're here to promote. Steve, like, is there? I don't know. I don't think you said you had an active campaign, but is there any links that we could take a look at your comics or?
Sure. So if you go on Global Comics, all my comics are on there digitally.
Did you want to send me the link in the private chat, and I'll share it out?
Now, Steve, did I see it right that all your comics are free on Global Comics? Is that accurate?
They were for Free Comic Book Day.
Gotcha.
Yes, yes. But now you got to pay. I'm like,
well, I logged in. I don't know, they were still free. I may have been seeing only like the preview pages.
Yeah, I could also send you guys a Dropbox link to all of them as well. If you guys if you missed anything, I can do that.
Whatever was on there that was free, I read them all. So it's cool. I love the artwork and everything.
Yes,
I definitely want to highlight some of your books here, Steve.
But not only is the artwork amazing, but the jokes in there and the little puns and the little like the back and forth. The characters in your book actually sound like regular people talking, which is like kind of cool. You know what I mean? Like, that's how
are these the 5 books you've done since you started?
Yes. So it's actually 6 Slowpokes. There's 2 of them, and then there's the rest. So positive. The free one is a 5-page comic I did for my class. I did that for free. So in that one, the villain finally defeats the hero and misses him. So that's kind of the premise for that one.
Good artwork too. Really good artwork.
Juan Romero did great work on that. He did Slowpokes for me as well. Those characters are also in Foulmouth, but those are that's the first 5-page comic that I actually got to do.
Good lettering too. A lot of people skimp on that in their first comic. You
Yeah,
know,
this looks great.
Really does. Looks really good.
So it looks like the majority of your work is humor based, correct?
Yes, horror comedy. Yeah, I'm a goofy guy. I'm a goofball. I'm a talker. So I like to take ideas. I like to take 2 ideas usually and just smash them together into one and see if I can create something new.
Now, what would you say would be your influence for your sense of humor? Where did it come from? Was it influential from like something you watched, or was it from a family member? Or where can you talk about that?
Sure. I think my mom is the biggest ball buster of all time. Whenever I shave my head, she says, "Hey, dickhead, come bring in the groceries." One time I found a hair in my food at a restaurant, and she goes, "Hey, at least it's not curly." So just she always had the one-liners and things like that. So I think I got a sense of humor from her.
Steve's mom's the best.
Yes,
that is funny. I grew up, honestly, Steve, I grew up with a ball busting family too. So I think, I got that same kind of sense of humor. Not a lot of bothers me, and, I love all kinds of humor, dark, light, whatever. I love it,
My thing with the comics is that if it gives my parents something uncomfortable to talk about with their friends, then I'm probably going in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love that.
That's great, man. These books look great, Steve. Like, it's hard to believe you just started comics, man.
Yeah, I'm 4 years in now, and with several different titles, which is pretty cool. I'm this year was the year I was like, I'm going to swing for the fences. That's why I'm coming to Plastic City Comic Con. That's why I've done New York Comic Con, Indie Comics Creator Con. I'm doing some horror conventions as well. So just trying to see where my audience is, because Elon Musk killed Twitter. And I gotta go talk to the people.
Tough, man.
Like, I highly recommend Monster Expo for a horror convention in this area.
I have talked to them. It's just a matter of making sure my schedule works and doing the drive out there.
For sure. So are you coming from Jersey?
I'm in Connecticut currently.
Oh.
So I'm in Norwalk, Connecticut. So it's just, if I'm gonna do that, I just gotta stay the night. That's pretty much it.
Sure.
Just because it's a little bit further.
Sure. Pretty funny that you highly recommend that show though.
Yeah, this is great. And where did you find your artists? Like, did you?
I go through Comics Experience. They have a
bunch of listings.
Yeah, not even listings, just students that want the experience. So for me, the Comics Experience, I guess.
This guy is a find, man. Really good stuff.
That is Sergey Domenik did my work on Zombie Date Night. And to go back what I was talking about earlier, my next comic will be Zombie Date Night 2. It is in the works at the moment. When there's a little bit more work done on it, I will be doing another Kickstarter. But yeah, I got to go back to the well.
It's pretty funny that you and Johnny crossed paths in the past, And,
it is, yeah.
And,
well, that's
both comics deal with like zombies, and both in the mall too.
So what are the chances?
Yeah, right.
That and like it just shows you how small this community is in ways too,
Yeah.
And I loved how the art style on Zombie Date Night looked specific enough where it's like you look at some of the best animated series like The Simpsons or Family Guy or any of that, the Bob's Burgers, they all have a very distinctive look to the characters and to the people, and you've adopted that here for Zombie Date Night specifically, and even some of your other stories too. And I love that. I love how the characters look unique in and of themselves.
Yes. So for me, I don't know about I don't know about Hero Darky Dark here. But in terms of making characters, I always try to do character sheets and making sure everybody stands out. Everybody looks different. Everybody has their own quirks. I think diversity is very important because you see people that are, I'm Puerto Rican, Dominican, and Chinese. There's not that many of us out there.
Wow,
that is an awesome mix, though. Man, the food that must come through your house must be amazing, though.
Yes,
right.
Well, even that, I grew up with a nanny, and she was from Guyana. So there's I was introduced to good food from an early age. And I've been very lucky that, you know, I'm not 800 pounds because it's all so good. Like, I know how people, it's funny, in you know, you look at the news and things like that. It's like, yo, people complain about diversity. It's like, look at the food, man. If your food was just burgers and fries, like, you would be missing out on so many good things.
I know. Yeah, for real, man.
Hey,
Like,
Steve, talk about. Oh, sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I was just gonna say that just culturally. So, you know, I have family that worked in a very diverse workshop. So, you know, of course, you know, at the end of the day, you know, they bring in food and they trade it off. And so I remember growing up, my mom would bring home some of the most exotic food from different cultures and be like, oh, this is amazing. You know, I could only get it through these channels, you know?
Well, the worst thing growing up was, so I come from a small town, Flanders, New Jersey, and I remember a girl was like, "Oh, I'll, you know, come over to my house. My dad makes the best steak ever." And I get there, there's no seasoning on the steak. And I'm like, what? And I remember, like, I was like, what is this? Like, it was like a Twilight, it was like a Black Mirror episode. I was like, what do you guys mean? There's no adobo, no salt, no pepper, nothing.
Oh wow,
That's wild.
these
that's
comics
savage.
are fantastic, dude. I just looking through them. I haven't read them
Thank you.
yet, but I'll probably grab a couple from you from Plastic.
Yeah, I hope you do. There's
yeah,
Santa doing
definitely.
cocaine.
That's
Well,
pretty
if
cool. I
if
love
Bears
it.
can do it.
Because I you know, like, I know digital is a thing, but I'm more still a physical reader. I like having the book in hand. You know, it takes me
Yeah.
forever to read something digitally unless I need to for, you know, whatever,
Yes,
for the
gotcha.
show or whatever. But
I have digitals and I have physicals of all my comics. That's why I'm going to Plastic City
Perfect.
Comic Con, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
bring all my comics. I have merch, I have T-shirts, I have posters, I have bumper stickers, all types of
Cool.
different things, just based around the comics. I'm also bringing one of my artist friends, Jason Thomas, with me, who does a lot of great work. He hasn't done a comic yet, but he does a lot of prints and things like that. And so, you know, I always want to give back. I always want to help. And I always just want to, you know, drive the medium forward with Santa doing cocaine.
I was
yeah,
gonna say,
very cool.
I
So
love it.
Steve hasn't changed these back to selling yet. So if you guys hurry, you could probably read this
Yeah.
entire
Oh
line.
yeah, go
gonna
ahead. If I didn't, that means I didn't do it right. All right, I gotta. But
yeah,
I'll, you
get
know
in
what?
there.
Until I'll give it to the end of the week. Go ahead.
There you go.
So you're getting let me
I think my favorite is the zombie zombie date night, and also the well, I guess the slow pokes is pretty funny too. I think
It,
one and two.
it depends what you're into. Zombie date night, more romance. Slowpoke's definitely more straightforward horror, ridiculousness. Because I mean, it's fast killer sloths. I mean, what can
True,
that
but
be?
you know what? In all your books, I think there's like a certain level of like swearing involved in like jokes,
Yeah.
which is like that's like the. But you should talk about the powers of what's her name, the foul mouth. You know, that's pretty funny
Yes.
if you go to that one.
So Foulmouth is the demon possessed superhero who gets her powers from cursing.
Some of the jokes are pretty funny.
So I'm a big fan of, growing up like Venom, Green Lantern, Kyle Rayner, Green Lantern is my favorite. So,
Okay.
just taking a walk during the pandemic is like, what's something I could do that could make me stand out? I was like, oh, I should just do something with cursing. That'd be funny. And then I'd be like, well, I can't just do a book of straight cursing. What if I did a book where a demon possessed girl gets her powers from cursing, and then the more animated it gets, or the more creative it gets, the more animated it gets, kind of like Green Lantern. And I was like, there's something there. If she calls somebody a shithead, the shithead will like appear.
I like the the ass hat joke was pretty funny too.
Which one?
The ass hat comments.
Oh yes, an ass hat, and then an ass hat appears and hits somebody.
Right, it's beautiful.
Also in Slowpokes 2, people were able to back, and I was able to kill people who backed the comic. So a lot of them are in. So in
that's cool. I like when campaigns do that. That's really fun.
These are people that have backed. I always I want to make every project fun. I want to make every project. So I know a lot of you guys are talking about anxiety. For me, this is my realm. Like, I love creating and putting things out. Joyce Carol Oates, the author said to when you're writing, write in a journal, because that's when you're most honest with yourself. So I like to do that with my comics, where it's like, this is my safe place. This is my place where I'm running the show. Doesn't matter. If I'm entertained by it, if it's something I want to see, then let's go to the races. If it's something I'm excited about, let's figure this out. And not everything works. Sometimes things work, some things don't. But I got to try, because what's the worst that could happen? I get to talk to you guys all day. That's not a bad way to go.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, Steve.
It's not too
Committed
bad at all.
Comic says nice artwork. Hey, thanks for joining us, Committed.
Thanks, Committed.
It's a nice artwork. Brandon says Steve did Killer Sloths before Slaughterhouse. Yeah, I was just going to mention that. I thought I saw
this
sloth
is
horror
probably the
movie.
first time I will talk about this.
Okay.
They definitely took that from me. They stole my logo.
Did they really?
Yeah, if you look at their logo and you look at the Slowpokes logo, it is very.
Let me look it up while we're talking here.
So go on, Steve. But there's one other comment I want to make on it. Just go on.
Yeah, I mean, I so here's the thing that's weird about this. Like, I looked into litigation for this because mine came out first, and then they kind of took the idea. But I saw the movie. I wasn't a fan of it. I like that they made it into a movie. That's kind of cool. And again, maybe they didn't. Maybe it's a coincidence. I don't know. But it looks very similar to mine, and I think that they saw
present
the idea.
it to everybody.
Yeah, I think they saw the idea and they just did their own. That's what I think.
So here's Steve's Slowpokes, and here's Slaughterhouse.
They stole that shit. They stole that shit.
We
Those
got a
fuckers
case.
stole that shit.
We got a
They
case.
stole
here.
that shit.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. If you're gonna make
kind of
the
fun,
movie, at least do it. Promote it correctly so you can make some money on it. At least do that. Like I had merch, I had all types of stuff.
Well,
and they didn't
I'll tell you this, Steve. I ain't watching Slaughterhouse, but I'll read Slowpoke.
Right.
So
Yeah.
there's a big difference there.
It's kind of cool that it's a genre because I've been tagged on Twitter about it, and then people are like, "Oh, Slowpokes did Slowpokes did sloth horror better," and I was like, the fact that exists, that there's more than one.
There's not too
blowing
many.
my mind.
Yeah. You pioneered sloth horror.
I guess.
Think
we'll
about
see.
that. That's pretty awesome.
My friend Lane, who's gonna be one of the volunteers at Plastic City, is deathly afraid of sloths. She hates them.
So if you do look up, hold on, let me see if I can find the Slowpokes T-shirt. I might have to
give her
Do you
one.
have any plans of putting a sloth in the Goonies in one of your books?
I think I might have to.
So when Keith was flipping through the book, I was getting like 1980s Critters and Munchies vibes from that.
So
you know what I mean?
Back to going back to being influenced by things, I was influenced a lot by those. I love horror movies. I love Trauma. I love Full Moon Features. I love all that stuff. And you would go to Blockbuster as a kid, and you would see these great art, pieces of artwork, and you'd be like, "What the hell is that?" And then your imagination kind of runs. It never lives up to the imagination for some of these
covers. Never live up.
Sometimes it doesn't, but like that's what I wanted to do with Slowpokes. Is I want to take that sci-fi movie feel and make it where it's like, hey, how can I make this the most entertaining, the most fun, the most like, hey, you saw the art, it looks awesome, and the story lives up to the art, and it gets, and I want it to get more ridiculous and more crazy and zany as much as I can. So like the first one, is the fast killer sloths in a carnival, and then the second one is at a fat camp. Because I love Friday the 13th, and this is my homage to that and those camp movies.
That's a bad mix, though. The fat camp with the fast moving sloths. I don't know.
Yes,
I think
exactly.
I
like it. I think it could be the Dream Warriors of sloth horror stories.
And I'm from New Jersey, so big Kevin Smith guy. So same thing with like Zombie Date Night. Zombie Date Night is in a mall because that's my Mallrats. That's the second movie that I have in mind.
That's what Johnny's.
I sell Surrounded by Death as Mallrats meets The Walking Dead.
Exactly. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but Keith over here made a cameo appearance in Comic Book Men. I don't know if you know.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
man. Really, Keith?
Yeah, you didn't know that, Johnny?
No. What the hell? I watched every episode of that too.
I'll have to pull up the video sometime and we'll watch it here. But like John, Samino.
Oh, Stretch Hulk.
Yeah, so
this is a
he
Stretch
brought
Hulk thing.
He brought the Stretch Hulk for Comic Book Men, and he didn't want to go down there alone, so I went with them, and I figured I would just kind of watch, but they let me be like one of the people pretending to read books in the background. But like the funniest thing about it is like I forgot what shirt I was wearing that day. It was something with, like a movie or something on it. And they were like, you can't wear that on camera. So they gave me this t-shirt, and it was like this plain t-shirt, but it was so tight on me. So I just, picture me in the background reading books with this like tight t-shirt. Like it's, it's funny. It's funny just to watch.
Now that you say that, I think that rings a bell. I may have seen it in the past. I thought you were like actively like one of the guests. Yeah.
No. But John was on it as a guest, and Mitch was at some point too. Mitch from Terrificon was a guest.
Wow.
On one of them. He went on there dressed as Indiana Jones for some godforsaken reason. But
fun.
Yeah, isn't it? But yeah, we'll play that sometime. We'll watch it. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But was I gonna say so Kevin Smith though, I have a lot of I brought Kevin Smith one time when I lived in New Jersey. I went down to, this is a kind of a cool story. I went down to when he had it was right when Chasing Amy had come out, and in Kubert school, I forgot what my assignment was, but I had to do a 6-page comic. So I decided to do like Blunt Man and Chronic. This was before Kevin Smith even thought to do comics, or so I made it. I was basing it off of what was shown in Chasing Amy. Remember they showed some images, the Mike Allred stuff.
You weren't a tracer, were you?
I wasn't a tracer, but at the time, he had just bought the comic store in Red Bank, and it was called Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash. So one day I was like, what the hell? I'm going to go down and see if I could give it to the store clerk there and have him pass it along to Kevin Smith. So I went down there. I went into the Secret Stash, and Jay Muse was actually working the register at the time. Awesome. And I was just like, oh my God. I was being a huge fan. I got a picture with them and talked to him forever. And I had made a bunch of copies. So I gave him a copy of the Blunt Man and Chronic, and he was like, oh, this is fantastic. He loved it. He was like going through it, and then, I said to him, I was like, hey, is there any way, Jay, could I get this to Kevin somehow? And he's like, yeah, sure. Just go down the street. He's at his office right now. And I'm like, you shitting me? And he's like, no, the office is right down the street. And I'm like, really? So I just walked down the street. I go in this office. It was like on the main street in Red Bank. And I opened the door, and it was so surreal to me because Kevin Smith was there. He was behind his desk. He was on the phone with somebody from Miramax. And then I looked in the other room, and his producer, Scott Mosier, was there just doing whatever. And then a couple of the people working the office were all extras and clerks that I recognized. And I was just, it was so weird, and
life imitates art sometimes.
Yeah, it was really the case. And then he hung up the phone, and I gave him the comic, and he paged through it, and we were talking about movies. I remember that we talked maybe about 15 minutes, and he took it. I mean, I don't know if he has it still or whatever, but that was cool, man. I was like, this is cool for me, because at the time Kevin Smith was like one of my favorite things going, so I always have that memory.
They have slow pokes in their somewhere in the shop because the Ming Chen knows somebody that I'm friends with, and she was like, oh, you gotta get, he's like, oh, I gotta get you on the podcast. I'm still waiting, but we'll get there one day.
I know Ming's a good guy.
Yeah, it seems like everybody there, again, the comic community, everybody's so cool.
Yeah, no, it was really, and it was cool. I like it too because it was before he blew up with people, Yeah. Because I feel like Kevin got more famous after Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I like Zach and Miri Make a Porno, Clerks, all the Clerks stuff.
Yeah, because people don't remember this, but Mallrats was a complete bomb. I remember it coming out.
My favorite one.
I know it's amazing. Like I remember when I was working at the theater in New Jersey when that came out. It literally was in and out of the theater within a week, and I happened to catch it that 1 week it was in, and that was the first movie I saw by him. I never saw Clerks until after that, and once I saw Clerks, I was hooked on Kevin Smith. I was like, this guy's awesome. Dialogue king, you know. So so I'm still a fan.
Close with that animated TV show.
I love that. I thought the animated show was great. I love the animated show.
I quote that show to this day.
Oh man,
Bears driving.
Bears driving. How can that be?
Randall's sexy. What was it? Sexy God.
Go sexy Randall, the Pharaoh Wizard.
The Pharaoh Wizard. Yeah.
That I used to get high as balls and watch that show, and I just laugh my ass off. That show was amazing. It was nothing like the movie, but it was awesome in its own right. It was fun. Alec Baldwin as the voice of the villain. It was just good. It was a good animated.
They did it in a way too, like where it was like, you know, like the jokes were like they actually had to think about them and like write like more safer jokes, you know, for TV. But it was really funny.
It really leaned into the absurdist humor.
Yeah, absolutely. I wish that never got canceled. It was so good.
Yeah.
And Committed said Dogma was the one that brought Kevin to the forefront due to the controversy. Yeah, absolutely. I remember that.
Well, when you make George Carlin a priest in your movie,
yeah, you're just asking for.
I also love that he protested his own movie. Like he was on News 12 and he protested his own movie, and he was like, "Dogma is dog shit." he had a sign.
That's great. That's great.
But finally, like so he's with his stuff now. It's like it's not as funny, but I still think he's a great. He still writes good stories. Like I've been reading. He's been putting out in comic form from Dark Horse, like Tales from the Skewniverse or whatever. And the last one he did was really kind of cool. It like kind of stretched his you know, because he's been getting into horror the last few years. Like he did that weird Tusk movie and
I like
Red
Tusk.
State and all that stuff.
I like that too.
This one was like about the making of the movie franchise and how like it's like steeped in murder and stuff. And it was really interesting. If you guys get a chance to read it, it was really cool. And it kind of ties into Jay and Silent Bob at the end. But the first 3 issues are all about like this seedy like story that became like the movie franchise, which is kind of funny, you know. But yeah, it's a great one. Great. Nothing can kill the grimace.
Oh, my favorite.
Great one. Great line from that. But yeah, no, I still enjoy Kevin Smith's stuff, and I'm always interested in what he's gonna do next. You know, even though I don't think his stuff is as funny as it used to be, and you know, it's a little different now. You know. So,
yeah, I think when the budget's lower.
The budget's lower, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but that's where like Clerks that was like 31 grand. That's all.
Well, the ideas got bigger, but the budget got lower.
Got smaller.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and then I also want to show some stuff from HDD here as well, and then we can start wrapping up. But he had given me some links to Global Comics here as well. So let me get this stuff
awesome.
set up.
Well, I mean, even looking, so you have HDD, you've got a sign-up page on Kickstarter right now for Rail Riderz #1. And even that preview image looks straight out of Jet Set Radio, just like you promised.
Yeah, if you can share that link with me as well, HDD, I'll put it up on the screen here.
I'll put it in the chat as well, so that way
if you can,
gets blasted out there to people.
All right,
but can you just give it like an elevator pitch on it, so that way people kind of have an idea a little bit more what to expect specifically out of the story?
Yeah. So for Rail Riderz, you know, as he said, it's by Jet Set Radio, so you know how that goes. Young people on very specialized roller skates, going around doing all this crazy stuff, spray paint stuff. And so this one, since this is, as I mentioned, my own take on it, I kind of put a bit emphasis on in a sense, of finding yourself and finding your own freedom. And so the main character, he's kind of at like a job that he's not exactly happy with. He's feeling a little bit trapped and such. And so on his way back home one day, essentially he got caught up between a fight between two different crews. And, one of the crews essentially just accused him of working with the other crew. So they steal something from him. And so later the other crew goes and find him. And it's like, oh yeah, sorry dude, that you got caught up in that mess since it wasn't his fault. And then, they take him to meet their leader. And the leader, he was chill about it. He was just like, hey, so we could just go to him and then take it back ourselves. Or you can give us a chance to, train you up and then give you a chance to earn it back. Kind of just giving him the choice of instead of just having something done for you, he can kind of take back control of his life and, work his way to get things back. It's kind of like that whole not letting life always hold you down and then finally taking your own control over your life.
Your own
I feel like
destiny into your own hands kind of
it
thing.
sounds like a street-driven hustle kind of story. Is that accurate?
Yeah,
the artwork is really
like
nice.
young people, because like, when you're young, of course, when you're like teenagers, all basically no responsibility. But once you're adult, your mom and dad ain't gonna be as supportive of you, depending on who your mom and dad are and such. You kind of just hit that point where it's like, man, adulting can kind of suck. You might not have the job you want. You might have to have a lot more responsibility than you thought, and then it's very easy for you to just feel a wash away with all these things that just fall into like a mute life. So this is kind of just like hey, no, my life ain't gonna suck. I'm gonna start moving my own way. And so yeah, that's kind of like the theme of the story.
I like that. There's a certain optimism in that. It reminds me of like those like 90s teen movies where, it's like there's like a little bit of the struggle trying to find your place and your footing and trying to find responsibility and then kind of like having that hustle and that grind. I love the idea of it.
Speaking of grind, what's going on over here?
Oh, yeah. So that's the first book I did, Rail Riderz. Sorry. That's the first book I did.
Really
Relentlessly Bully Hero.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's still emergent panel function. I just uploaded this today. It's really cool. It makes it easier to like go through everything.
Is this your artwork, HDD?
It's not my own. I hired an artist for this.
Okay.
I only started drawing like relatively 17 days ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So you're very fresh to it.
Yeah.
Artwork is really
I'll be
good.
right back.
Yeah,
It's
sure
like a
thing.
nice.
Well, yeah,
nice
let's flip through the
manga.
book in the meantime. And so I love that he took advantage of the isolated panels on Global Comics.
Yeah, I
Like
love
that's
that
such a
too.
fun functionality. I don't know if Steve, if you did this yet on any of your yearbooks, but I love this guided view, or what? It's not guided view, but
Yeah, it's called like I forget what it's called, but I like it too. It's takes some time to do, but it's totally worth it. Like
Cremoria.
and this was the campaign for this book from previously.
yeah, I was gonna say, Steve, did you use that view on yours for your Global Comics? I think you're muted. You're muted.
I said sorry, not yet, but this looks great. So I might have to do that as well.
It's fun to be able to guide the reader's eye and use different shapes for the panels.
Yeah, and you can really
I'm
highlight
about
some
that.
stuff you want them to see.
Well, the last thing you said?
I said you could really highlight what people are looking at when you do the guided view.
The guided view. I was just complimenting the use of guided view, the isolated
Oh, yeah, for
panels in
sure.
Global Comics.
Yeah, this book looks
I
cool.
love that
So
feature.
you have this for sale on Global Comics.
Yep. Just
And
went up
people-
today. And you can view
Nice.
the first 15 pages for free.
For
I
free.
think it was actually
Oh.
17 pages.
Oh,
One or
cool.
two.
So people can get a
Nice.
taste for it and then know if they want to buy it or not. That's great. And then when are you planning to? I know you said Rail Riderz. You're gonna not launch it until the book's done. Do you have a projection on when that might be?
I say my hope is probably around like September. Yeah, if you want, you can actually play the trailer for Relentlessly Bully Hill. I know a lot of people love that trailer.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Is it-
Let's roll the
is it a
trailer if
short
there's
one?
attached footage. Yeah.
Is it a short one, HDD?
Yeah, it's only like a minute.
Oh, okay, that's
Let's
perfect.
play it.
Wow.
Wait,
Roll
let
it.
me dip out because I don't know if I hit the audio on it.
Yeah, let's
Give
get
me
the
one
audio on
sec.
it.
Yeah, give me 1 sec. Let me
This
hit
looks
the
very
audio.
interesting too.
Oh yeah. So for that one, the story. Have you guys watched My Hero Academia?
Yeah, I have.
I have not.
Yeah. So it's very much inspired by heroes and such, and kind of like how heroes can affect society. And for this one, recently, within like the last year or two, like a city star hero died. So imagine if like Superman or Batman died for those respective cities. It kind of leaves like that vacuum
Okay.
of heroics still.
The
And
void.
so
There's a
because of
void
that,
there, right?
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
exactly. So, of
Awesome.
course, because of that, things like society degrades a bit and such. And so a new generation of heroes, start stepping up to try to fill that. But of course, not perfect and such. And so that's where our main character comes in. And, he tried his best. He's a little bit of an edgelord, so it's like, but, he tries his best. But unfortunately for him, he ends up catching the eye of this veteran villainess who basically she finds him so interesting with how he acts and stuff in the way society is that she now dedicates all her time to just following him around to just mess with him. So like he'll be trying to chase down a villain and then she'll like purposely trip him just to get in his way for fun.
Speaking of booth themes,
Exactly.
I was gonna say I'm getting strong Bowsette vibes off of it. You know what I mean? And I love it.
Yeah.
So here's the trailer for Relentlessly Bullied Hero. Now this
Let's
is a book
roll
you
it.
can get on Global Comics. And can you also get this physically from you as well, HTD?
Yeah. So right now I'm working on getting it on Amazon
Like on a
for physical
website or
books.
something? Or Amazon, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still getting that process, but yeah. Because I made a rule that until my backers start getting the physical books, I won't put on Global Comics on Amazon because me personally,
Yeah,
I
that
felt
makes
like
sense.
I wouldn't feel right if the people who actually paid to support it didn't get to buy it and read it before people who
Yeah,
didn't.
you want to take
So-
care of those people before you actually put it out to the general public. I get that.
So now that
All right,
people are
so-
getting it, I'm starting to upload it. So yeah, you can play it.
Awesome.
Nice.
All
Yeah,
right, so
roll
let's
that
take a
footage.
look at Relentlessly Bullied Heroes. Here we go.
Also, a great title, by the way.
Thank you.
Does it not?
As
Oh, there we
pillars
go.
of society, heroism must stand proud, no matter what. Through injury, madness, nihilism, and even death, a hero shall step up and lay their body on the line like those before them. We may fail, but we will never stand down, for it is through our valor and will that society will be purified for a better tomorrow. Oh God, I couldn't hold it in. What is this, Zeal? Your first draft? It's worded so weirdly. And haven't you ever heard of a word limit? Gotta make it snappy and interesting. Let me show you how it's done. Greetings, peasants. The great villainess, cursed sorcerer Grimoire is speaking. Welcome to the show of my creation. Featuring Zeal, the hero of our story. Say hi, Zeal. Fantastic. He's a very odd new gen hero I came across and claims he can return heroism to its once prestigious state compared to its current degenerating from. Hard pressed to believe from his general lack of abilities, but hey, he has spirit. Who doesn't want to see an underdog story? And if he fails, it'll be hella fun to witness. Coming this... Zeal, when is this campaign starting again?
Late January. It's starting late January 2024. And of course it wasn't finished. You just jumped me and stole my journal, you freaking sociopath.
We've got it all. Violence, explosions, my sexy self. So go, give me your money.
You vile woman. You think this is funny? There's no games here, witch. This town is diseased. Rotten is steeped into the soul, and my crusade shall chip it away piece by piece. I swear, by my flesh and bone, I shall...
Enough of that. The gag goes back on.
Wait. It's my story, isn't it? Why am I playing second fiddle here?
There'll be plenty of cool stuff, so go spend your money on Relentlessly Bullied Hero. #1. Any parting words, Zeal?
Really? Well, I stole my hero's mission statement too.
Psych.
That was excellent.
That's
That
a
was-
great
was
trailer,
awesome.
man.
That
That's
was
really good.
awesome.
That's really
Oh, thank you,
good.
thank you.
Oh, dude, the
Yeah, I
voiceover
enjoyed
work
that,
was
man.
fantastic. How'd you come up with somebody doing the voiceover?
Uh,
There we go.
you mean like
Too
the
much for
the
my
script
face.
itself, or like actually getting people to voice it?
Well, did you hire it out, or did you know somebody specifically, or?
Oh yeah, hire out. So I'll be honest, a lot of people overlook Fiverr as a great resource because you can find a lot of things. So it's a lot easier to just go like, okay, I need some voice actors. And thankfully with Fiverr, it's like they already have like the I forgot what they call it, the wheels and such. So it's a lot easier to see, okay, which voices can they do, what can they do, because when you do it on someone's Twitter, you have to scroll through all the tweets, all the media posts. Depending on which voice actor you are, you probably have to scroll through like the 15 posts about some other crap you don't care about. But with Fiverr, it's just like, oh yeah, I can just see their wheels, see what I can do. Message them, talk to them about the projects on the script. They'll be like, oh yeah, I can try this. How did this sounds? Perfect. And then from there, just off to the presses. And then
Well, I think
I enjoyed making the script because as you know, when you make trailers and stuff, you think, okay, what can I do to make it stand out and interesting? And since the series it's both action, but at times it does know how to laugh at itself. I mean, literally in the Kickstarter, it literally described the main character as an editing lord. Like the story can laugh at itself a bit. So I'm like, okay, why if I kind of just play up at first, kind of like a little bit of a generic trailer with like a voiceover about her works and all that stuff, and had that completely stop with the
that's what I like
laughing about it.
You really get a sense of what the comic's going to be just from that
The
trailer.
tone and the vibe of the story for sure is permeates.
Definitely, even got a nice comment
Great work
from Brandon saying, "Well done, trailer. Glad to see the thought and creative writing put into it. Not enough Kickstarter trailers put the effort into it." Yeah, no, I agree. I imagine that's why it was successful as well, like because you did put the effort in. I also shared the link to his Global Comics channel, or what do you call it, page.
Yeah.
And if you guys want to check out Relentlessly Bullied Hero, you can read the first 15 pages for free, and then it's only $6.95 or $6.99 to buy the rest of it. It's a 62-page book, so worth checking out.
Pretty good deal.
Yeah, and
Nice.
as you saw, the art is excellent, and you get the tone of the story right from that trailer. So check that out, everybody.
Yep.
And then sign up for Storm Rail Riderz. The link is also in the chat, and I believe I put the link to that in the description of the video. If you're watching this tomorrow, so if you want to just head on over there and click the notify button so you can get notified when it launches. And
don't forget that number 2 for Relentlessly Bullied Hero, the sign up page is up.
Oh, so is that up as well? Oh, yeah.
There's a link there for that as well. I noticed.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, so you actually have 2 sign up pages available out there right now. Now, are they going to be launching concurrently, or are you going to kind of offset them a little bit?
Offset them. So the plan is Storm Rail Riderz to come out first, and then Relentlessly Bullied Hero. Of course, that depends on what happened with the artist. Because if something happens, it's like, oh, well, okay, I guess I'll switch them around a bit. Because I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. So the kind of goal is to be like, okay, Relentlessly Bullied Hero, next book Storm Rail Rider, then Relentlessly Bullied Hero, but
yeah, and you already have 45 followers on that one.
That's great. So you got some fans.
You're
from
off to a great start.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
I'm definitely
great job. Like we don't have many manga artists and writers on the show as much, but we have had a few, and I'd say yours is one of the most impressive I've seen. Like it looked like it came right off the bookshelf at Barnes and Noble. So congrats, man.
Oh, yeah, the artist I got, he's amazing. I love him. Cause like I say we work decently well together. Remember how before we all talked about how doing different arts like between movies and comics can be different and such? Yeah. So the reason why I recommend also trying other things is that you can also use that knowledge to help build on something else. Cause of course I couldn't draw. So I used to try to write novels and such. And of course with novels, you can be a lot more descriptive and things and such. And you can put a lot like tone and such. And so, of course, you can't directly put that one-to-one with comics without blowing the page. But I realized that, in a sense, I could use that, I guess to say, token-like explanation or description on things to help describe the scene so that the artists have a better idea how to position everything. So instead of just, oh yeah, do a punch, I can put in the details of just saying, even though his ribs were broken and he was barely holding himself up, he still put his foot down and then give it all he got. And that can help get the idea, a better sense of inspiration of what to draw.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
So I can't remember where we heard it, but I think it was last week's show. Somebody said it's like writing a letter to the artist. And I think you encapsulated that really well, where, the way you describe the panel to the artist is almost like psyching them up to want to illustrate that. A lot of it's jazzing up the artist to get them in that moment, to let them feel what's happening in the panel, right?
Yeah, like when I work with artists, whether it's for covers and other stuff, I like to let them cook, but at the same time, I like to give them that person the right direction so that they can really be hyped for it. Because if you work with an artist and they're really hyped to work on something, they'll certainly deliver. I know for one of the artists who didn't want to post it for it. Well, I told her the idea I have for posters. She was so excited. She made 5 different concept for it. Remember, I didn't even ask for that, but she made 5 different concepts for what we can try out. And I'm just like, hey, thank you and such. And so it's give me an artist that little bit of a spark of inspiration can really help to make the offer bounce. Because now instead of just, oh, okay, I'm just describing this, it's, oh, okay, I can kind of vibe with this. Because if your artists like the characters, then they're really gonna want to make it
the best it can be.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Harry?
Stuff, man.
Oh, speaking of inspiration, I saw that one of your biggest influences was Akira Toriyama.
Oh yeah, oh I love this man.
So yeah.
I love him because his style is so similar to mine too. It's the reason why he write isn't because he always want to make masterpieces and such. It's just because he wants to entertain, and he just does what he wants from it. Because we think about things like Goku versus Frieza. The guy's fighting against a genocidal maniac who killed an entire race. Yet he still finds way to add in the humor into the fight that doesn't really interrupt the fight at all, just because he gags. Like when Goku bit his tail. And so I completely respect that guy and I love him.
Yeah, right. He just died earlier this year. I just saw that too.
Yeah.
And realized. Yep.
Yeah, I was never a Dragon Ball fan, but I recognize I did watch a little bit of it, but I never I never got into it. It's too much, and it's like One Piece to me. I just can't even think about starting that. It's just, I mean, you take half your life trying to catch up on that anime. It's just too crazy. Which is why I appreciated the Netflix live adaptation, because it's something I wanted to see, but it's an easier way. It was like
Cliff Notes version of the anime.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and I'm not I'm a casual anime fan, so the live action one is perfect for me. Just need that Cliff Notes version. But
thankfully I managed to keep it with One Piece due to the saving fact of schooling. Give me a lot of extra time, so
yeah, you probably were watching it as it was coming out. That's how I was able to watch My Hero Academia. Is I caught it when it was beginning on Cartoon Network, and I was able to keep up with it weekly until it finished. But if I had looked at that now to do that entire show, I wouldn't do it because it'd be too much for me.
You were able to hop on the wave at just the right time. That's part of what the beauty of Toonami was, because if you caught it at the right time, you started like Cowboy Bebop from the beginning, and you just kind of rode that wave. Steve, do you have any particular animes that are your favorites?
I love Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll is great. I didn't really discover anime until maybe a few years ago, but Death Note was my intro anime.
I saw that.
Love Death Note so much because I just didn't I wasn't educated about anime correctly. I just thought it was a specific thing, but it's no, it could be a lot of different things. It could be horror, it could be comedy, it could be somebody is a vending machine randomly. It could be something like that. Spy Family was great. Wonder Egg Priority was a weird one that I watched that was pretty good.
I've seen that one.
It was very, I mean, Sailor Moon, you know, all those type of things. But yeah, love anime. I love that. I hate the discourse that it's like, oh, manga's not comics. It's like it is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
It is.
I don't know.
It's just a different version of comics, but yeah, of course it's comics.
I mean, comics is a weird community where, you know, people get angry about the weirdest things. It's like just have fun.
Oh yeah,
this thing is
that's
awesome.
That's why I don't engage in that stuff. I just do what I got to do, and you know. Harry, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I read that your girlfriend is your editor too. So what's it like working with her? Do you guys like agree on things most of the time, or
yeah,
is she a critical editor? Or
she is. She's been great
good.
for somebody who's never edited before. She's done a great job.
Good.
It started with Zombie Date Night. I was like, oh, it's a fun thing to like actually do this with my girlfriend. Like that's a fun like way to do this. And I was like, wow, this came out really, really good. And our back and forth, it wasn't critical. It wasn't like, oh, this sucks or this whatever. It's like, hey, I like this, but can you make this a little bit better? Like, can you explain? It's good to have somebody with you in the comics because they could see it from a whole different perspective than you can see it. So same thing with the dialogue. Like I'll read the dialogue out loud and make sure that it sounds right. And she'll be like, okay, let's tweak this. And it works.
And it's probably easier for her to tell you things that maybe another editor may not tell you.
Yeah, she can tell me. She can tell me.
Right.
She has no problem like slaying any of your work.
Yeah, no, I prefer that myself. Amy helps me in that way.
Her red pen is her lightsaber.
Yeah.
She will strike you down.
I'm going to start wrapping up here since we've been going 2 hours and 15 minutes.
We're having fun. We're having fun.
We're having fun though. One more thing though, I don't know if we HDD, did you have a specific anime per se that you like that stands out above the rest for you or anything?
I mean, I guess obviously it would be like Dragon Ball My Academia.
Yeah,
because
those two primarily overall.
Yeah, basically. I mean, I'm literally my first comic and stuff is basically inspired by those two. So
I wasn't sure if there was another one that you held closer or anything, but
there's one.
I know there's one more called Kenichi the Mightiest Disciple. It's about martial arts. I just really love that series because it's I guess you can say that tangentially inspired Rail Riderz with the whole taking control of your life. Cause it was about this one kid who got bored a lot until he got to JoJo and then all that stuff and blah blah blah. I just love that series, but
that's cool. I was gonna say there's one I've been hearing about that's on Netflix right now that people are talking about at the store that I've heard like a handful of people talk about. It's on Netflix now called Delicious Dungeon, and it's basically the premise I guess is like people like in a Dungeons and Dragons kind of scenario. But they figure out a way to keep going through the dungeons and everything as if they decide to cook the monsters that they kill, like and make food out of them. And like I was like, that sounds amazing. And they call it Delicious Dungeon because the initials can be D&D, So I was like,
hilarious.
And it's running. I guess like they release a new episode every week on Netflix, and it's on like episode 20, but. People said it's really good, so I'm like, I might check out a couple of them, see if it's good.
That's interesting.
Like the premise.
I'll have to look into that. That's interesting.
I just watched a bizarre movie yesterday actually on Netflix. Leave the World Behind. You guys ever see that movie or hear about that movie?
Is it the one with
Julia Roberts? Yeah.
Is it any good?
It's like 2 hours. It's like 2 hours and 15 minutes, and it's like very bizarre sounds and noises and music and like it's like somebody got hacked. It's like the world got hacked. Somebody hacked into the satellites or whatever, and there's like no Wi-Fi, no internet. The Tesla's cars drive themselves and crash into each other. It's like the world's gone crazy. You know what I mean?
That movie's produced by the Obamas.
Yeah. Well, I also I put it in my queue because isn't it written and directed by the guy that did Mr. Robot, Sam?
Maybe.
Sam Esmail or something like that. Yeah. When Mr. Robot was amazing, so I'm like, I would give that movie a shot just based on that. But
the premise was good, but the ending was like, I don't know, you can watch it for yourself and you can like let me know. But like the ending, was
Yeah,
like,
I don't know when I'll
"That's how
get to it.
ends?"
It's
Like,
in my
yeah,
queue, but I'm gonna watch it at some point, you know.
yeah, yeah.
And Julia
It-
Roberts has never been my favorite, so it's always
you know,
hard to
and it
get
kind
into
of
her movies.
this is like a bizarre like comparison, but like a long time ago, I watched this movie called Midnight Meat Train. Everybody watched.
I love that
Oh,
movie.
yeah.
But see, I
Clive Barker.
I love the first like the last 15 minutes of that movie. Like
It gets so weird. Yeah, I know.
ruined the whole movie. Like that's why the guy was killing people. You know, I couldn't like it's like so dumb. Like the first, it was kind of like interesting. You know, like who's this guy killing people? And like and I forget his name. Rocket Raccoon. What's his name?
Yeah,
Bradley Cooper.
Yeah. He was like following this guy that was like murdering people on the T, you know, on the rail, you know, whatever. And then like it's kind of, you know, mysterious and like who is this guy? And like he would take pictures and like then that's how it ends, you know. And
Well,
the
the
mayor.
ending didn't bother me, but I know I know a lot of the stories by Clive Barker, and they do get into the weirdness, so that's why it doesn't bother me as much.
Oh man,
I do like that movie. I
first thought
actually-
I thought it was an adult movie, like based on that title. But then it's like reading a book. It's like reading a book. In the end, the last few pages was like,
I've
lazy.
seen movies like that ruin it.
Yeah.
In the last 10 minutes, I personally don't think that one does for me, but
yeah,
I could see where it would for somebody.
you're
you know?
right. I'm like, I don't know.
But anyway, so as we start to wrap up here, gentlemen, if you want to share out other links to people where they might find you, like social media and things like that, where you're active, we always like encourage that. So Steve, if you want to let people know where they can find you.
Sure, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at the Steve Urena, SteveUrena. If anybody wants any physical copies, you know, just so Global Comics doesn't give me 13 cents, just send me a message in my DM, and I'll mail it out to you myself.
Or come see Steve at Plastic City
City,
on July 20th.
Yep.
I hope you guys at Plastic City Comic-Con do panels as well, because I feel like, you know, there's a lot of conversations about comics that could be had, especially with the guests and the lineups you have going on there.
Yeah, we've been panel void of panels. I think if this location that we just moved into, the hotel, if that continues in the coming years, I think we could make one of those rooms a panel room.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is the show's grown so big that it's like I come to that choice of like, do I make panels or do I give, you know, another 10 creators space here to sell their books? And I always come down to the more that, which is
you could always
more laziness for me, because like to be honest with you, to add panels, like that just adds more work to my workload, and I'm like, yeah, you know,
you could put a cam on yourself and do 24/7. You do 24 hours live.
I think if I could hire out
Cam.
somebody to do it for me, I think that would be the option. But yeah, I don't know. I'd have to take a poll someday and see what people would prefer. Like if they want that, or if they want just more vendors and artists to meet and stuff like that. Be interesting to find out, you know.
We should do an indie comics relay live.
Yeah,
that'd be
on
cool.
the show floor.
That'd be cool.
That'd be cool.
Mm-hmm.
I
Maybe
think you guys could also do workshops as well. Like I think because if people are asking about, hey, how do I become an artist? How do I do this? It's like, hey, sign up and you got plenty of these people. All these people are here. You know what I mean? They could spend 30 minutes, an hour.
Yeah, I have no doubt I could fill the panels easily, you know, with the people that are there. But
it brings more value to the show in that regard, if you think of it.
It does. It's something to think about, and like the small rooms that they have there. So the way the hotel's set up,
breakout rooms.
There's like so there's a main ballroom, a junior ballroom, a hallway that connects both of them. And then on the other side of the hallway is 3 small rooms, like 3 almost like, I don't know, like boardroom meeting kind of places. So we filled both ballrooms. We filled the hallway with vendors.
Wow.
And then we filled all 3 small rooms with vendors. So like the idea is that people will go through the hallway and they'll be like, oh, there's another room with people and there's another room. So and it's all in this kind of like one area. So there's no like going off a half a mile to get to another
Yeah.
room. It's all connected by the one hallway, which I think is just a nice setup. And I think I think anywhere you end up in the show will be a good spot, because there's just going to be so many people walking around and finding different creators and different back issues they need, which is great.
Which room is Jimmy Hart in? Is he in the side room?
He'll be in like the main ballroom, I think. I put him right kind of in the entrance there. That way we could
you can hear him
in case he gets a line. Well, that too. Right. In case he gets a line, it can loop people out the door. Kind of
right.
thing.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. So not that I don't think even if he gets a line, it probably won't be that huge, but you never know. You never know. I mean, he is one of the greatest wrestling managers of all time.
Right.
He is.
And he's
really is.
He's the Dick
Next
Clark
to Miss
of,
Elizabeth.
Yeah.
He's a Dick Clark of wrestling managers, because he hasn't aged.
He is.
Exactly the same. His hair is still jet black, or
Yeah, it's awesome. I can't wait to see him. HDD, any social medias that you want to shout out to people?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You can check me out on my Twitter, at Darky Dark, or I have a YouTube. I sometimes upload to it, sometimes I don't.
Okay.
I'm very inconsistent in upload. Darky Dark. Thankfully, my name's unique enough to where I'll just type in Darky Dark into any one of those websites. They can easily find me.
Oh, cool.
And
yep.
Mongolo Comics, of course. Sending up Amazon.
Nice.
I'll be doing my first con to sell to. So yeah,
cool.
And I
Awesome,
always
man.
have excellent ideas on what to market myself. Is that the right word? To get people interested. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
I'm looking forward to it.
I did a whole series of videos on this channel about setting up a con. So if you're a first timer, go check out that whole playlist. You might get some ideas from there.
Two quick questions
Send it over
for
to me.
sorry, real quick. Two quick questions for you, HDD. One, you said you're going to be exhibiting soon. What show are you going to be appearing at?
If I remember correctly, it was Anime Magic.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
So you can do anime shows. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, of course, my book's heavily tend towards
this would
anime and manga, so might as well.
shows, yeah.
Absolutely. The other question I had was, what's the origin of the HDD name?
Have you ever watched One Punch Man?
Yeah,
I have not.
I have.
So there's a heel named Flashy Flash.
Okay, yeah.
And so, of course, you know where this is going. So basically, it basically went from that to eventually just going like, oh, okay, why not do something similar? Heel Darky Dark, and boom, here we are today.
Nice.
I like it.
I like it.
I like it.
I know
It's
Bruce
funny
Lee's,
enough, I used to have like a group of friends, and kind of as a joke on my name, they made their own name. One which was like Villain Lighty Lights, and then another was like Civilian Normal. So, yeah.
That's great.
I love it. That's great.
Well, ours could be Indie Relay or something.
Yeah. I like it.
That's great. Harry, anything you want to shout out this week?
Not really. No, I was gonna do that. Drawing of the octopus, but I'm doing other drawings, and other projects. So I'm busy doing that. So
awesome.
Nothing really specific. Just trying to stay out of trouble.
Yeah. I hear you. How about you, Johnny? Anything?
I was gonna say, did we skip Steve?
No, Steve. Steve gave his social.
Oh, okay.
medias,
I'm sorry. Yeah. We got too many tangents here. I
All right,
apologize.
Yeah, I know.
We're having a good
So
time. Going into
yeah.
midnight soon.
Exactly. So just for the sake of time, all I really want to do is take the moment to thank Steve and thank HDD for coming on, sharing your time with us, taking your time out of your day. We greatly appreciate having you on. Thank you so much, guys, for coming on.
Thank you for
to the
doing
show.
this. Thank you for making indie creators a thing, which is awesome.
Yeah, try to
Appreciate
try
that.
to, try to elevate everybody, and then also elevate ourselves at the same time.
Give you guys a platform.
Yeah, exactly. And then we can promote our stuff as well,
Absolutely.
So
Right.
we try to make the show mostly content, and then like a little bit of like promoting, and we try to make it more entertaining kind of thing.
Fun. It was kind of fun little chit chat.
More comic talk, good comic and Harry's tangents and that whole stuff.
That's funny.
You gotta mix it up.
Yeah, exactly. So we are off next Monday for Memorial Day. Finally, a week off for us, but we're back the following week. I forget who's the guest, but yeah, we'll be back soon. And I'll still be uploading on Wednesdays and Fridays like I normally do. I think this Wednesday I have a review of Redcoat #1 coming out, which was awesome. If any of you guys got to read it, I don't know. Great comic.
That's not the King Charles comic, is it? Or
no, no, but he might be a character in it.
That is the ultimate Redcoat. That is like the final boss Redcoat.
Have you read it, Steve?
Ghost Machine,
right?
Is that what it is?
I have not, but I will take your recommendation.
It's Brian Hitch artwork. It's beautiful. And it's like it's about a character that's like kind of like a fuck up who's like ends up being immortal by accident, and he's a coward, and he's got he's every character, he's like the opposite of what a Redcoat would be, but it's really, really well done character, and the story's compelling so far. So
there's so much great stuff out there. Like I love that. So for a period of time, like I read comics as a kid, like the 90s boom, of course, Wizard magazine. And then like when I went to college, I kind of stopped because I felt like I felt like I didn't know where to start. You know what I mean? There's so much of it out
there's
there.
So much.
But now that there's like the DC app, there's the Marvel app, there's Hoopla. If you want to do the libraries, they have so much good comics in there. And like Libby, it's so awesome to catch up. Like right now I'm reading Copra, the indie comic.
I've heard of that.
Yes.
COPRA, right? Copra?
Yes.
I hear that's
hope
great.
I'm pronouncing that right. Yeah. And I just read a bootleg comic about The Simpsons, where Homer kills Bart, and then he has to like hide the bodies.
It is a comic by IDW that had a lot of heat. That seemed like it was called Beneath the.
Oh, I love it. Beneath the trees where nobody sees, right?
Where nobody sees. Isn't it supposed to be like Dexter, but in like this
Dexter with,
weird storybook land or something?
Yes, it's Dexter with animals. And it's
it looks kind of cool.
So well written. Like, you know what I mean? Like you write something like our Hero Darky Dark stuff is great. My stuff, I'm like, okay, that looks cool. And then you see that, you're like, fuck.
Yeah, right. But that's what makes comics so good, though. It's like stuff like that. But yeah, I've been meaning to read that. That was one that came out and it was instantly going to second and third printing, and I was like, I hadn't even heard about it.
It's well written. The art is cool. Like it's got an aesthetic. Like it's just you're gonna see a cartoon of that eventually. Cool.
I gotta read that. I know it's only 6 issues. I'll grab the trade when it comes out.
It's free on Hoopla. So if you have
is it really? I'll have to check that out then.
I think most of it is on there.
Okay.
Too shy, but.
And I gotta admit the Energon universe stuff has been killer. So good if you're a G.I. Joe and Transformers fan. I love what they're doing with all those properties. It's been so good.
That's awesome. Yeah, one of my teachers, Paul Allor, wrote some G.I. Joe stuff.
Oh, really? Oh, that's cool. Like back in the day, like
recently.
IDW.
Yeah, I think IDW.
Oh, IDW before like Skybound took it over.
Yeah, Skynet.
Yeah, Skybound. Yeah, they're killing it though. They did the right thing and started from the beginning again. And I love how they're building things up, but they're changing things too. Like there's not like this is kind of a spoiler with Transformers. Johnny, cover your ears, but like, but it's interesting. It's kind of it's interesting to see the Decepticons without Megatron right now, like because he's in it, but he's not there. So it's like interesting to see Starscream as a leader for once and see what he would do, and that kind of thing. And then recently he was usurped, which was kind of cool. And like, who do you think would take over as a leader of the Decepticons? And it's not Starscream or Megatron. Who would be your next?
Shockwave.
Close.
I got nothing.
It's someone that I wouldn't never think would make a play for leader, but that I was like, when I saw, I was like, Okay.
One of Soundwave's little like animals.
One of the
No,
little
yeah,
cassettes.
well, it's actually Soundwave. Like,
Oh, wow.
Soundwave.
Wow.
Soundwave is the current leader of the Decepticons, which I thought was wild. Like, I was like,
That's like
cool.
Riker taking over for Picard.
Right? Yeah.
He did,
But like,
he
never.
did.
Soundwave was always the robot that just did what he was told. Like, he never had. You know what I mean? He never.
I got ideas
had
too.
What's that?
It's like I got ideas too.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
But I love it, and I love that they're changing up things like that. And,
Soundwave was the Milton of Office, like in Office Space.
Yeah, Stephen Root. Awesome. All right, before we get off on another tangent, let me end this stream.
Let's wrap it
So,
up.
Yeah, so we're off next week. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
2 and 2.
Yeah, so keep checking out the channel. We'll still be uploading stuff in the meantime. So, all right, everybody, have a great week. Most importantly, read some comics, and we will talk to you later. Have a nice Memorial Day.